22-year-old Christina Sanchez is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old Seth Apodaca, for smashing out the windows of her rental car. Christina also claims he shot the vehicle with a paintball gun.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 543 on the calendar in the matter of Sanchez versus Apodaca.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Sanchez, the defendant was your boyfriend.
Yes.
It is your claim that you made a couple of small loans to him about a year ago.
Yes.
But your real problem is that recently he got angry, a little
Yes.
jealous, and he vandalized a car that he thought was your car that turned out to be a rental car, and you had to pay the deductible on the car.
Yes.
Mr. Apodaca, as far as the loans are concerned, says that these loans were gifts. There was never an anticipation that you were going to be repaid for any of this money that you laid out for him. You were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. And as far as the vandalism to the car, he sort of admits that he did it. But he said you deserved it.
No, do it again if I could.
Okay. What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a machinist.
What kind of machines?
Computer program machines?
You work for a company?
Yeah,
How long have you been working for them?
about a year now.
A year ago, did Miss Sanchez loan you any money?
She paid a few bills, but they were gifts.
Tell me why she paid a few bills for you.
I lost my job.
Were you living together?
Yes, we were.
Where?
We were living at her mother's house.
So you weren't paying any rent?
Yeah, I was paying rent. Until I
Yeah.
lost my job, of course.
When you lost your job, you weren't paying any rent?
Yeah.
Try yes.
What?
Try yes!
Yes.
Good. Now, what kind of bills did she pay for you?
She paid cell phone bills, a car payment, helped me out with the down payment, but I paid her back for that.
Cell phone bill, a non-essential. I know that you people feel that it's an essential, but the truth of the matter is, we did get along for many, many centuries without cell phones. Put your hand down. How much was the cell phone bill she paid for you?
Well, I have a spending limit on my phone, like $120, and it's never been more than that.
How many months did she pay the cell phone bill for you?
Maybe two months.
How many months did you pay the cell phone bill?
4. I have the bank statements right here to show it.
Good. How much did you pay for a cell phone?
It was a total of $400. I paid 4 payments of $100 apiece.
Okay. What other bills did she pay for you, Mr. Apodaca?
Just car payment, that's it.
One car payment.
One car payment.
And how much was that?
I actually made 2 car payments. I also have that in my bank statements as well.
But I paid her back for that already.
You did?
Yeah, because that was income tax money. I paid her back.
Okay. But you do owe her for your cell phone.
No.
I say you owe her for your cell phone because if you have no job, you don't need a cell phone. Do you
Yeah, but
understand?
she paid it as a gift.
That's why you're here, for me to make that judgment, Mr. Apodaca. This isn't a back and forth, sir. You were living rent-free because you couldn't pay the rent after you lost your job.
She lived rent-free at my house.
Listen to me, sir. Did you ever pay her cell phone bill?
Bought her a $500 phone.
Just, did you ever pay her cell phone bill?
No.
Did you ever pay her insurance bill?
Nope.
Did you ever make a car payment for her?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Just a second. The answer is either yes or no. Listen, try not to be smart with me. You may think you're smart with other people, Mr. Apodaca. I assure you that she found you attractive. I do not. So with me, you're going to play it straight down the middle. I'm going to be respectful to you. You're going to be respectful to me. Do we understand each other, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. On what date did you vandalize her car?
It was February 11th, Your Honor.
Don't interrupt him. I was letting him think.
Sorry.
February 2007.
How did you vandalize her car?
I put 3 bricks through her windows and paintballed her car.
Excuse me?
I put 3 bricks through her windshield, her rear window, and her driver's side window, and I paintballed her car.
And you did that because you found her involved with another man?
Yeah, she's sleeping with my
Just a
friend.
second, because you found her involved with another man?
Yeah.
Yes, but you were no longer together.
Nope.
How long hadn't you been together?
About a year.
Now, Mr. Apodaca, have you ever been in therapy? Listen to me, I'm being very serious with you, and I don't want to hear anything from you people. Do you understand? If I do, I'm going to empty out the audience. Do you understand? Have you ever been in therapy?
No.
How old are you?
23.
You live at home?
Yeah.
With whom?
With my bandmates.
Okay, but you don't live with family.
No.
I'm going to suggest to you very strongly that if you want to live a happy life, you should get yourself a little therapy.
I am living happy. I'm fine.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. Perfectly fine.
Mr. Apodaca, have you ever been arrested?
Yeah,
Were you arrested, Mr. Apodaca, more than once?
just once.
When?
A week after I paintballed her car, broke her windows.
I'm a lot older than you are. I've never been arrested. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Ever been arrested?
No, ma'am.
Is this your daughter?
No.
Who are you?
I'm
My boyfriend's mother, Your Honor.
How old are you?
48.
Ever been arrested?
No.
See, Mr. Apodaca, there were a lot of people in this room who were a lot older than you are cumulatively.
That's them, not me.
Who've never been arrested. Now, you say you're happy and you're living a wonderful, full life.
Yep.
And I'm suggesting to you, sir, just a friendly suggestion, that anyone who, after a year of not being with someone, has as much anger as you had a year later and vandalized her car in such an aggressive manner has issues that they really should be resolving with a professional. That's my suggestion. It doesn't require an answer. I've given you my reasons. I think that that kind of hostility and aggression after a long period of time is something that should be addressed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
He did move out before we even went to trial.
Well, but he moved out because there was going to be a trial and he was
No,
being...
he moved out.
Now, you had to pay a $500 deductible, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he also owes you for your cell phone bill.
And the car payments, Your Honor, he never paid me back like he said he did.
Well, I'm not sure.
I have an email right here from him that actually has me asking him why he doesn't think he has to pay me back the money, and this is dated back to September
I want to see what he
2006.
says.
It's a bit vulgar, Your Honor.
I'd like to see just what his answer is. If you say it acknowledges the debt, I'll be glad to read it.
It starts at the bottom and works its way up.
Madam, he does not acknowledge the 2 car payments. He owes you $900. $500 for the vandalism that he did on the car and $400 for the cell phone. I'm not getting involved in the stereo that you say you sold to him for $200. That's nonsense. That's all. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's psycho. She's always causing problems with me, always wanting to fight.
I thought he was a good guy, and the fact that, you know, I thought we were going to be together.
She has my friends. She's living my old life.
But he wasn't.
It was the first time that I had, seen them together.
Can't help what happens. Like, you can't help who you love.
I got angry, knocked on the door, wanted to call him out so I could fight him.
He was there for me when Seth left, when I was pregnant.
He didn't come out, so I got angry and smashed her car windows.
I think it's just like the judge said, he needs a lot of therapy.
When someone breaks up with you, move on with your life. Don't stick around the friends.
and now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gossett versus Roten. Step forward, please.
20-year-old Andrew Gossett is suing his ex-roommate, Brandon Roten, for breaking their apartment lease. Brandon says he moved out due to a legal dispute with Andrew.
Where do you gentlemen come from?
Wichita, Kansas. Wichita, Kansas as well.
Who lost their luggage? You had no clothes?
No clothes, ma'am.
Let me see the outfit that you got yourself put together with. Not bad. Okay, Mr. Gossett, this is what your case is about. You, the defendant, and I think one other young man decided to room together. You signed a lease, and the defendant moved out 4 months prior to the lease terminating. And you have been taking care of his share of the rent for that 4-month period. The defendant says that your actions forced him out of the apartment, and therefore he's not responsible for the rent. When did you sign this lease?
August 29th, 2006.
The third roommate was who?
David.
Where is David now?
He's a full-time grad student at Lawrence. Otherwise, I would have him as a
In
witness.
Kansas?
In Kansas, yes.
You go to school as well?
Yes, I go to Butler Community College.
And you?
I do as well, Butler Community College.
Are you angry with each other?
We haven't really spoken in the past 4 or 5 months.
I have no hostility towards Brandon.
You just want your money? Okay. When did you move out, sir?
I moved out in the last day of October due to certain circumstances and situations.
Okay. So you moved out and there was still 4 months left to go on the lease?
Yes.
And you understand, Mr. Roden, that it is your burden to establish to me that you had just cause to leave. Otherwise, you're really responsible for this money.
Yes, ma'am.
That fair?
I believe so, yes.
Ball's in your court, sir. Let me hear you.
Okay. September 29th of 2006, we were still living at the time with David and Andrew. We were proceeding up to Lawrence to actually check out KU and the nightlife as well.
KU.
Kansas University, I'm sorry. We stopped at a gas station to fill up and get some refreshments. Andrew Gossett actually had placed an alcoholic beverage on the dashboard of the vehicle. There was a park ranger.
You mean a beer?
A beer, yes.
I've heard of that. They did have beer in the Stone Age when I was...
The park ranger proceeded over to investigate the matter, check if we were all 21.
Investigate the beer?
Investigate the beer. He had discovered that
Were you driving, sir?
No.
No. They had to search the vehicle because none of us were 21, and they proceeded to find drugs and things like that in the car.
What kind of drugs did they find?
Marijuana.
Anything else?
No, just a bong with it.
What would that be?
Just what you would smoke it out of, I guess. I really don't know the
An
actual
implementation for using the marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
For those of us who may not be educated. So they found marijuana. Where did they find it?
In the glove compartment of the vehicle.
Whose car was it?
The driver,
Whose car was it?
Not one of ours. It was another friend's.
So what happened?
Well, after that, the cop investigated each one of us, asking questions. Andrew Gossett said that all four of us were responsibility for the marijuana, and the other three of us said no, that was not correct. It was Andrew Gossett's marijuana. That was the dispute between me and him.
Was it your marijuana?
No, ma'am.
Whose was it?
It was collectively kind of an apartment deal. I actually did not bring it into the vehicle. That was proven when this case took place.
So the case was tried?
Yes.
Yes.
And I pled not guilty.
And what happened with it?
I was charged with obstructive possession, which means I was in a vehicle...
Not obstructive. Constructive.
Constructive. All right.
Obstruction means that you were against something. Constructive means that even though it wasn't in your hand, you are charged with possession of it. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
Constructive.
And, constructive possession. And that being said, there were 4 people involved.
Could you get to the bottom line?
Yes, when we all got out of the vehicle...
Were you convicted?
Yes, I was convicted.
Perfect. Were you convicted?
No.
How many people in the vehicle were convicted?
1.
Did you go to trial?
Yes, I did. I testified against him.
You testified against Mr. Gossett.
Yes, ma'am.
That might make it tacky to live together after that.
My 2 other witnesses actually testified for me and under oath. When they made their testament to the police officer, they might have said it was mine, but all 4 of us were smoking it.
Well, you weren't all smoking it in the car, were you? You were?
Yeah.
So he didn't just find an open beer can in the car. The officer must have smelled this marijuana if you were all smoking in the car. Mr. Gossett, of all the people, you were the only one convicted, and I gather you were convicted on the testimony of Mr. Roten.
Yes.
You would agree that that might make it sort of tacky to share a room with him, right?
Yes. But he did move out before we even went to trial. Trial didn't happen until a matter of a month ago, so...
Well, but he moved out because there was going to be a trial, and he was being...
he moved out because he got his girlfriend pregnant.
Oh.
Well, somebody was actually responsible.
Just a second. When did you first, Mr. Roten, speak to the district attorney about testifying at the trial?
I believe it was December 31st, and then I actually went and testified February 12th.
But you moved out, sir, in October.
Yes.
So you didn't move out because of this. You moved out because of your girlfriend.
No, I moved out because there was a lot of tension between me and Andrew because he was actually making threats that he was the only one that got arrested and he's taking everybody down.
That's incorrect. It was not hostile at all towards Brandon. I understood the matter at the time.
Well, tell me,
he even
Mr.
helped bail
Gossett,
me out, so I did
Mr.
appreciate
Gossett,
that.
Tell me, sir, about the situation when Mr. Roten moved out in October.
All right, Brandon is very close with his family. I respect that. He was 18 at the time. He was not guided in the way of living on his own. I priorly lived at 2 apartments. You know,
there's no such word as priorly.
Okay, yeah, I just made that up.
I know.
And I kind of noticed some instability after a month, which, you know, made kind of my relationship and his, that there was tension between us.
What efforts did you make, Mr. Roten, to get another roommate?
I had actually been contacted with one of my friends acknowledging that I want to move in for you. I need a place, and I don't want you to be responsible for the rent. His name is Daniel.
Did Daniel move in?
Daniel did actually move in as a guest for a matter of, I think, maybe 11 days to 2 weeks. He actually owes me money now, too, for rent as well. And
so he didn't pay rent?
No, he didn't.
I have checks saying
he paid a portion of 1 month's rent and then...
Paid a portion of 1 month's rent?
Yeah.
That didn't work out. Did you know Daniel left?
No, I did not.
Did you advise him that Daniel left?
know, because at the time I had no contact with Brandon.
Well, how do you know Mr. Roten was aware of the fact that Daniel left? He found
Because
another
I think
roommate.
Daniel and him have excellent communication in comparison with me and
Well,
Dan.
you don't know that, sir.
I know.
You know that. That's a problem. You see, I believe Mr. Roten had the obligation to help find a new roommate.
And in reality, he did not find the roommate. I did come to Daniel because Daniel got evicted from his previous lease.
So you did find another roommate?
Yeah, I found him, but he did not stay for long. He had been evicted from his prior lease. The bills added up, and Daniel couldn't afford it. He came to his grandma. His grandma paid. I mean, the bank account is through his grandma. The check that was written to me.
So you picked
maybe
a
2
bad
checks for
roommate.
various- Exactly.
Well, then,
I
then
picked a
Mr.
situation
Gossett,
where-
Mr. Gossett, if you picked a bad roommate, you cannot visit that on Mr. Roten. You see, if he left and you substituted another roommate that you thought would cover his portion of the rent, and you picked somebody that you knew was financially unstable, you see, the only thing that Mr. Roten had to do, if you didn't do it, was to find someone else. He absolutely had to, under the circumstances, because I think that this tension, some of it had to do with this, and some of it had to do with the fact that you, is this your girlfriend?
Yes, it is.
Well,
Fiance, actually, now.
Fiance. You are affianced? I've always wanted to use that word. Are you living at home?
No, I own my own house now.
Great. Who pays for it?
Me,
From what?
from my job.
Good. Do you have any other roommate in your house now?
I don't live there anymore. I live in an apartment with my girlfriend.
When did you move out?
When the lease was up,
What about the other roommate that you had?
Dave made it aware to me that he was going to be entering graduate school. He left for Lawrence, I think, a month and a half before our lease was up, but he did make arrangements to find a roommate, and that roommate worked out great. So
Great.
to
Well,
cover
you
his
made
portion.
arrangements to find Daniel, but Daniel didn't work out great.
But see, Daniel had actually lived with me 6 months before at an apartment, and he made all his bills, paid everything on time, was great
You
with
just
that.
told me that Daniel moved in because he had financial problems.
No, Daniel moved in because his lease was broke. Like, he got evicted.
You just told me that. You just finished telling me that, Mr. Gossett, that Daniel moved in because he had some financial problems because he got evicted. You don't evict a good tenant.
No, it wasn't financial problems. It was actually like gang violence or something.
You just
Some
told me it
people
had to
broke
do
into
with his grandmother's bank account,
No,
Mr.
no,
Gossett. You keep
his
talking.
grandmother pays for everything.
Yeah, okay.
He has
Mr. Gossett, you picked a bad third roommate. It was really his responsibility to choose somebody, but if you chose somebody and that didn't work out, you cannot visit that on Mr. Roten. Your case is dismissed. Are you happy now? Are you happy where you are?
No.
You're not happy where you are?
Oh, I'm happy where I am now, yes.
Are you happy where you are?
Yes, ma'am.
Go back to Kansas.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, it's case number 449 on the calendar in the matter of Blanchard versus Bray.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Miss Blanchard, the defendant used to be your boyfriend, and you claim a series of loans to him while he was out of work in the amount of $4,200. Mr. Bray says that you didn't make any loans to him. There was a time when you were taking out loans, you and your brother. You were pretty flush with cash, and you gave him a couple of $100s when he needed it, but that was about it. So, when did he become your boyfriend?
In September
Of what year?
'06.
Could you keep your voice up? I'm getting old. And when did you make the first loan to him?
September 20th of '06.
So as soon as you met him, he needed money.
Yes.
How old are you?
21.
And where do you live?
In Marysville, California.
Who do you live with?
I live with my parents.
Do you work?
Currently, I don't.
How do you support yourself?
My mother gives me money for gas to look for work, and that's it.
Who were you working for in September of 2006?
Singular Wireless cell phone company.
What were you doing for them?
I was a customer service rep
For how long?
for 7 months.
What were you earning?
Around $2,000 a month?
Did you file tax returns last year?
Yes.
How much did you earn?
$11,000
Where did you get $42 to $100 to lend to him?
from loan companies.
Show me.
Hey.
What are these check cashing things?
Those are payday advance companies. You go in, you write a check, and on your next payday, you pay them back.
Were you living at home when you were doing all of this stupidity?
Yes.
Well, tell me all about it. I'm really curious. All in September, September 29th, September 29th, October 2nd. So days after meeting him, you started giving him money, according to you.
Correct.
Yeah, and
He actually worked as a loan agent when I had first met him. About a month after I'd met him, he had told me that he resigned from his job. He had told me he liked money coming in from different directions, that he wanted to borrow $200 in the beginning for a business license so he could help promote a rap group. He would help pay me back once he would receive that money for help promoting those groups.
And what if he didn't receive the money for helping to promote the groups?
He told me that was a for sure thing.
But nothing's for sure. Maybe he didn't get any money.
He told me it was a for sure.
How many different times do you claim that you gave him money?
10 different occasions.
10?
Yes.
And it was what you're telling me, that you never used any of this money yourself?
I did.
You did. That's what I thought. How much of the money that you took out in loans did you use yourself?
About $1,900.
Let's say $2,000. How much did you take out altogether?
Altogether around $5,000.
Altogether $5,000. You used $2,000 for yourself, which leaves $3,000 that you say you gave to him.
I used that money to pay back loans. I pulled
What
out
other
multiple
loans?
The loans that I had pulled out, I used that money to pay them. I would pull out a loan and then I would pay it back by pulling out another loan.
What I asked you, Miss Blanchard, was how much money of this money that you took out did you use for yourself?
About $900.
Well, first you told me it was $1,900.
That was the total of the money that I had used, but part of it was to pay back the loans, about $1,000. Around $1,000 was for myself.
And what did you do with the $1,000 that you took out yourself?
I was using it for gas and to live off of.
How do I know what you kept for yourself, to use for yourself? Who are you, the brother?
Yes, I am.
How much you gave to your brother of the loans you took out? Because you gave some money to him. We know that, right?
No, that didn't happen.
Yeah, sure you did. You took out some, you gave some to yourself, you gave some to him, and I think you gave him some. And you figured it would never catch up with you.
No, that's not what happened. My brother, I probably gave my brother about $100, if that.
Well, so now you gave him $100. He says you gave him nothing. Is he lying?
No. He's not lying.
Well, you
I
just said you
used
gave him nothing.
I
Is your
didn't.
I'm speaking. Is your sister lying?
No, she is not.
So she gave you money.
Not handed, but more like buying clothes, you know, products.
With the money she borrowed.
Yeah, she has to pull out loans.
You acted like a big baby with the loans. That's what you did.
I thought I was going to help him.
You also helped yourself and you helped him. And now you want him to pay for the whole thing.
I don't want him to pay for anything, just what's rightfully owed to me.
Well, there's no way of telling that, madam. How am I going to tell that? You kept no records. There's no question in my mind, based upon what you finally told me, that you used some of the money yourself.
The defendant made sure every time that I met him that I was by myself and that I had gave him cash. He did that purposely so that there was no records kept. He knew what he was doing. He was a loan officer.
Listen to me, madam. All you have to do is give him a check.
He told me he didn't want a check.
I don't care what he said he wanted. All you had to do was give him a check. All you had to do was give him a money order. But what happened was you took out all of these loans, some money you spent on yourself, clothes, gas, eating out. Some money you spent on your brother, clothes, according to him. No records. So how do you expect me to figure out what it is that you gave to him when you don't know?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Every day for the rest of your life, you're going to open up your eyes and you're going to say, I met a woman who was smarter than I am. Every day I open my eyes. You got it?
Yes.
And later today,
The state was supposed to pay that to me. They did not. She didn't tell me that they wouldn't pay all of that. It's her responsibility to
It's
pay.
not her responsibility.
How is it not her responsibility?
Because I say so.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alicia Blanchard claims ex-boyfriend Fred Bray borrowed a large sum of money from her and never paid it back.
Now, see, I'm finished with her. Now I'm going to start with you.
All right.
Let's start out with this. How old are you, sir?
28.
Have you been married?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
Have children?
Yes.
How many?
One.
That child live with you?
No.
You pay regular support?
Yes.
To whom?
To the mother.
Directly or through the court?
Through the courts.
Which court?
Sacramento.
Do they take the money out of your check or do you send it directly?
I sent it directly.
Have you been in arrears?
Yeah.
You think I'm asking these questions because I'm just making them up as I go? I'm smarter than you will be every day that you open your eyes for the rest of your life, sir. Do you understand that? Do you understand where I'm going?
Yeah.
Every day for the rest of your life, you're going to open up your eyes and you're going to say, I met a woman who was smarter than I am every day I open my eyes. You got it?
Yes.
Now, you took advantage of Miss Blanchard financially. You're 28, married, divorced, child who you don't support, no job.
I do have a job.
She had a job. She had the ability to take out money. She gave you money. She also paid some of your bills. Right?
Yeah, she did.
That means, sir, that you took advantage of her because you contributed to this relationship zero, nada, nothing, nothing. That I can see, at least. Whatever it is, it's well camouflaged. Now, all I want to know from you, sir, is there's no question in my mind that you borrowed money from her.
No, I didn't.
Mr. Bray, this is not a give and take situation, sir. There is no question in my mind that you borrowed money from her and you said, when I get it together, I'm going to give it back to you. When the deal comes through, I'm going to give it back to you. Did she pay your cell phone bill?
She did it well on
No,
her own.
I didn't ask you that. I said, did she pay your cell phone bill?
Yeah, she did 3 times.
And tell me how it came about, Mr. Bray. You see,
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
an
tell you.
ecumenical abuser, sir.
I'll tell you.
Tell me how it came about that she paid your cell phone
She
bill.
went in-
How much do you weigh?
205.
How much do you think she weighs? A lot less than you, right?
Yeah.
She's a lot younger than you are. She lives home with her parents, right? Where do you live?
I got my own place.
And you've been on your own for a long time.
Yeah.
You've been to court a couple of times.
Yeah.
So you're a lot more worldly than she is. Tell me how it came about that she paid your cell phone bill.
She went into, we go through the same cell phone company. She went in her own. I didn't even ask her to pay it. She would do it on her own, send me a text message like, hey, hon, it's me, Alicia. I paid your cell phone bill. And she did it up until November. I never told her to go and do
Just a
that.
second. I didn't ask you whether you told her. You know, believe it or not, Mr. Bray, I have had boyfriends in my life. I know that that sounds strange for you to conjure up, right? Strange. And unless one of them said to me, you know, I can't pay my phone bill or my phone bill's overdue or they're going to cut off my phone, I would never have known that they were overdue with their cell phone bill. So if something doesn't make sense, sir, it's not true. Do you get it? Now, you had no job and you had a cell phone. If you have no job, then you don't need a cell phone.
I had a job. I still have a job.
I thought you gave up your job as a loan officer, sir.
I'm a loan officer, so I get paid 100% commission. I didn't quit my job. I told her the market was slow at the time when we met. She
So you
knew
weren't getting any money.
that. Yeah, I still had other ways of getting money, though.
How?
I did a lot of promotions for a lot of guys. I don't know if you ever see them guys. Everybody want to be a rap star now. So since they were out there trying to sell CDs, what I did is I started a promotion company. I would come up with ways to try to help these guys market themselves, going into different clubs.
And
trying
you
to
made
get
a
them
living at
gigs.
that.
No, it was something brand new that I just started at the time.
Money for the cell phone. Where did you get it from?
She paid it on her own. She really did, on her own.
Listen to me. The attraction, I hardly understand. Quite frankly. You have somebody of marginal intelligence who has no money, who has the responsibility of a child that he doesn't support, encumbered by a lot of things, including the fact that he's no stranger to the court system. All of these things. And you're a 21-year-old girl who lives at home with her parents. I don't get it. Must be a well-kept secret. In any event, you did a very stupid thing. How many times did you pay a cell phone bill? 3? What were the bills?
$50.
Each time?
Yes.
Okay. And how much money did she give you, sir? Not loan you. How much money did she give you?
I'll say about 16.
$1,600.
Yeah.
Okay. So far, sir, by your own statement, we have $1,750. 3 months of phone bills and $1,600 in loans. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm going to make it an even $2,500. How's that? Pick on somebody your own size, why don't you? You know, you used to taking advantage of women?
And take advantage of her.
Sure
Get it on
you
her
did.
own.
Sure you did. You think you could pull that baloney on me? Look at this face. You think you could pull that baloney on me? You think you could pull that baloney on somebody who was worldly? You know?
I didn't pull anything.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
Listen,
pull anything.
Mr. Bray, I don't get you at all. She does, that was her problem. You owe her $2,500. Get rid of the smile and pay the lady. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was a smooth talker.
The money was never borrowed. The money was given to me.
He wanted to pursue a relationship with me.
She wanted to be in a relationship that we were never in.
For every other woman that knows him, watch your back.
I think it was a hard lesson learned, and maybe she won't do it again with someone else.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Christopher versus Dixon. Step forward, please.
Charnita Christopher is suing her former friend and child care provider, Vashni Dixon, for her share of money paid to Vashni by the state. Vashni is countersuing for unpaid child care fees.
Miss Christopher, Miss Dixon was a friend of yours.
Yes,
and it is your claim that at some point she needed some assistance, you needed some assistance with child care, and the state was paying for your child care costs.
Yes, ma'am.
You engaged Miss Dixon to watch your children with the following arrangement, that she would share those child care responsibilities with your aunt, and then they would split the check. It is your claim that when Miss Dixon got the check, she kept the whole check for herself, and you want half the check so that you can give it to your aunt.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Dixon says that there was no aunt, that she watched the children, but that you wanted her to split the county check. You would keep half, and she would keep half. And she felt that that was very unfair since she had the responsibility of watching the children. She has a counterclaim, and her counterclaim is nonsense. Her counterclaim wants you to pay the difference between what the county paid for child care and what she thinks she deserves for child care, the overage, because that's what it says in the contract from the state. Well, that's not the contract you had with her, Miss Dixon.
When she told me, we made the agreement.
Miss Dixon, that wasn't your agreement that she was going to pay you extra.
She was supposed to pay me $4 an hour. The state was supposed to pay that to me. They did not. She didn't tell me that they wouldn't pay all of that. It's her responsibility to pay.
It's not her responsibility.
How is it not her responsibility?
Because I say so. Because that wasn't your contract with her. Now, how many children do you have?
3.
How long have you been receiving child care money from the state for the 3 children?
Approximately a year.
Starting when?
It started again March 27th of 06.
And where were you working in March?
I wasn't working. It was for me to be able to look for employment at that time.
Well, did you find employment?
I found employment July 3rd. I was hired at Glamour Shots.
So you're telling me from March 27th until July 3rd, the state was paying you to look for a job?
Yes.
To watch
Yes,
your
ma'am.
children?
Yes, ma'am.
When did she start to babysit for you?
August 7th, 2006.
And where were you working at that time?
I wasn't working.
Well, what happened to the job that you started in July?
Oh, August, Glamour Shots. I'm sorry, Glamour Shots.
Are you still working there?
No, ma'am.
When did you stop working there? It's very easy to find out by calling them. When
August
did you
15th.
stop?
August 15th. I have my check stubs.
All right, so you worked there for a month.
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you leave there?
Because they weren't giving me enough hours.
Well, so you left that job because they weren't giving you enough hours and you went to a situation where you weren't working at all.
Yes, ma'am. There was a lot of
Just a
other
second.
issues with that job.
So the county wasn't really getting a great bang for their buck by paying for your 3 children for daycare while you're looking for a job, and you had a job for a total of 1 month when you quit because they weren't giving you enough hours. Something doesn't sound right there, Miss Christopher. So she started working August 7th, and now a week later you're not working. So what are you doing when she's watching your children?
Out looking for work.
What does that mean?
I have to go to the workforce center, and they work with me to help me look for work.
Well, how many days a week do you go to the center?
It could be 4, sometimes 5.
Could it be 3?
It depends on what my job counselor...
When did you go to work?
Where did I go to work?
When? First is
I
when?
haven't. I'm looking for work right now. My children are not in child care right now at all.
So she started to work on August 7th. And when did you stop working?
I left her house on September 4th, I believe.
So you were there for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
How many hours a day did you watch the children, or did you live in her house?
She'd leave around maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, and she wouldn't get back till like 8 o'clock at night.
What about this aunt? Do you know anything about an
I
aunt?
never heard anything about her aunt watching her kids before this.
Where's the aunt?
She's at home.
She's not here?
No.
Well, how do you expect to prove to me that somebody else babysat for your children?
I have the proof.
Show me. What kind of proof are you showing me?
Oh, it's the hours that my aunt kept the children. She typed this up. She has a license.
I don't accept that, Miss Christopher. That's hearsay.
Okay. Well, that's what I have.
Well, your case is dismissed. My dear, she got a check for watching your children. You have no proof that somebody else watched your children. Ridiculous. Your case is dismissed, that's all. So is your counterclaim. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, it's case number 522 on the calendar in the matter of Garl versus Nesh.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, huh?
Mr. Garl, you own some sort of a club establishment, and the defendant made a bachelor party there. According to your complaint, he still owes you several $1,000s for his bar tab.
Yes.
The defendant says that he paid you $900. I believe that's what you...
He charged it, but we're disputing it.
Did you pay him $900?
He charged it without our consent, but we're disputing it, ma'am.
You owe him money.
No.
Yeah, sure you do. Hey, did you go there?
Yes.
How many people went there in your party?
About 30.
So you expect to go there and drink for nothing?
No, but I expect...
Okay, so then you owe him some money.
No.
Mr. Nash,
Yes.
let me explain something to you, sir. At the end of this case, there is going to be a judgment in favor of the plaintiff for a certain amount of money. I don't know how I'm going to be able to reconstruct exactly what you owe him, but you had a bachelor party there, you drank his liquor, you used his establishment, and you are going to pay him. You do understand that?
Not all 30 people drink, though.
Mr. Nash, I'm going to tell you something, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
At my age, I know enough about bachelor parties that everybody had something to drink.
He didn't.
Everybody.
Maybe some water.
Well, he's entitled to be paid for water that somebody drinks at his club.
Okay.
Now, you had 30 people at this bachelor party. What were the financial arrangements, Mr. Garl, with regard to the per-person charge, exclusive of alcohol?
The party was set up for January 13th with Christina and Tim.
Christina, stand up.
Christina is my event coordinator for...
Okay, event coordinator Christina, who has a last name which is?
Perez.
How much were you charging per person to come into the club?
$10.
So that's $300 if he had 30 people.
Correct.
Now, did you ask for a guest list?
Yes, I did.
When did you ask for a guest list?
At the time that we arranged the party.
And what did Mr. Nesh say?
That he wouldn't be providing a guest list because he wasn't sure how many guests he would be bringing to the club on January 13th at the bachelor party.
Well, how did you expect Mr. Nesh to figure out how many people were going to be charged for the $10 entrance fee?
We did a head count on the way in.
And how many were there?
30.
You have a list of those 30?
I don't know.
How many were there?
Over 40.
There was more like 55.
That's because they're letting people in on their own, so...
Just a second.
At 40, we quit counting.
If he acknowledges 30, there were at least 40. Okay.
Wow.
Shh. You may not lose this whole thing, Mr. Nash, but don't start on the wrong side with me, sir.
Okay.
When you use somebody's business, you have to be prepared to pay for it.
It should also protect you as well. I mean, they should let people in with knives.
Mr. Nash?
Go ahead.
If you choose to have a bachelor party with 40 people, sometimes things get out of hand. Was this the only place you were going that evening?
Yes.
And you started out there?
Yes.
What time?
About 10:30, 11.
What time did they get to your place?
11:30.
What time did they leave?
Their party started a ruckus about, it was about 1:40.
And what was the financial arrangement with regard to the booze?
They wanted to be VIPs, come in, and they were going to take care of everything at the end of the night.
Do you have a contract with them?
Yes, we do.
I'd like to see it, please. What do you do for a living, Mr. Nash?
I own a car audio business.
So you're a businessman?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign this?
Yes.
Good. Did you present him with a bill?
Yes, we did. The next morning,
What was the bill?
the bill was $2,297.
Okay. So, Mr. Nash, you are a businessman. You signed this contract. The contract says, no guest list, walk in. Christina will take a head count and give it to Audie. Who's Audie?
Audie is the bar manager.
You said the price per bottle is $100 and up, depending upon selection. private cocktail waitress was $100. You said number of guests 20 to 30, but you agreed that she would do the head count at the door.
We both came up at the same number at the club.
No, what
I was with her when she was doing the head count.
And what was the number you came up with?
30. And she was letting people in, and I tell her that these people aren't with us. I actually had to bring the people back and have them pay them cash. And she still counted them afterwards, after the couple days that went by.
You could have modified this contract and said, Christina, and what's your first name?
Tim.
Tim will do a head count at the door. That's not what you said. You said Christina, that's her, will do a head count at the door. You said you were going to pay the waitress and you were going to pay the bar tab.
Okay.
So?
But did you see the rest of it that says that it'll have a mid-VIP section blocked off as well?
The entire mid-VIP section?
That's what brought the bar tab up to some outrageous amount that he's asking for.
Well, tell me why, sir.
Because it's supposed to be sectioned off as per the contract. People are coming in and out as they please, drinking our drinks, ordering on our tab, bottles that we don't even drink, alcohol that we don't even drink. So it's coming to our table that we ended up getting asked to pay, so that's not our thing. He should have had it blocked off and should have checked people walking in and out.
Well, when you say blocked off, how was it separated? How were your
It's a
30 to
midsection.
40 people separated?
Because it's a separate section from the rest of the club.
Okay.
It's supposed to be sectioned off on the sides, which it wasn't.
Well, what did you expect them to do?
Maybe stand somebody there at the door, maybe chain it off. Just as it says, blocked off, it's not blocked off.
How did you block it off?
They were offered private security at $100 per person, and they refused. Being that it was a bachelor party, I ended up putting a security person on either end, which they tipped $100 to each security person to go out to the dance floor and bring girls to their private party.
Oh, were you there? Did you see that?
Yes, I
Just
was.
a second.
I'm in that club every weekend, and I was standing right there.
That's cute.
And Tim actually complained to me about one of the girls dancing with one of my security guys at the entrance of their blocked off area.
Did you actually observe women from the dance floor being escorted to the midsection VIP area?
Al, which I think is Tim's cousin, was actually asked to get back in the bar from my security because he was out front bringing people in from the outside from the line inside, which we didn't charge. I mean, after 40 people, we stopped charging them, but it got ridiculous that they were inviting so many people in from the outside. And
Men or women?
women.
Who's Al?
He's my cousin.
Al the procurer?
No. Al Nesh.
You see?
I
Good.
just like you, that's
I'm
all.
interesting, right? I'm interesting.
You are.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't answer your questions.
That's not fair, though.
You want fair?
I was just wondering
You
if
want
judge was
fair?
supposed to be fair.
In Washington, D.C., in the Supreme Court, you get fair. Here, you get me.
And later today,
I had to sell not only that ring, but some other items that I had for...
I don't believe. When you say there were 30 to 40 guests, Mr. Nesh, listen to me very carefully, sir.
I'm
The
listening.
30 to 40 guests that were yours, were they all guys?
No.
How many women?
Maybe 6, 7
Ooh,
girls.
yeah, right. You want to know something, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I never remember. I have sons, I have son-in-laws. They never invite women to their bachelor party.
But can I give you...
They end up there,
Hey.
but they don't come as invited guests. Al, the procurer, may have gone outside and
No.
brought some women in to dance. Stop laughing, because it's not helping him. He's going to be angry after you leave that you heard his case. Do you understand?
I'm just smiling.
Do you understand?
Can I ask
Okay.
you something?
No, you can't ask me anything, sir, because you know why?
Why?
I have spent a lifetime in this profession so that I don't have to answer your questions. You have to answer my questions. I don't answer your questions.
That's not fair, though. I thought a judge was
you
supposed
want
to be fair.
You want fair?
I was just wondering
You
if
want
judge was
fair?
supposed to be fair.
In Washington, D.C., in the Supreme Court, you get fair. Here, you get me. Now, Mr. Nesh, listen to me very carefully, sir. If you said to me, listen, there were other people that were left in the VIP section that were not part of our party and they got some drinks, and you were reasonable with the club.
Oh, I
And
was.
reasonable with the club and said, listen, let's come up with a figure that I can live with. We had 40 people there that came in, and maybe we brought in another 10, 15 women because we were all dancing, and the women were also drinking. So maybe in total we were 50 people. Times 10 is $500. Now let's say each one of them drank $20 worth. That's an easy, right? You can drink $20 worth in 2 hours. You drank the water.
I drank cranberry juice.
You drank, well, cranberry juice, very good for you. Very good for you. Also expensive. At a club, sometimes you can pay the same thing for a cranberry juice as you can for a beer.
Especially at this club where they rip you off.
Then you shouldn't have gone there. That's not his
I know, I
problem.
wish I did.
Find someplace else to go. But I would say that minimally, at a bachelor party that arrives at 11:30 and leaves 2 hours later, that everybody has one drink an hour at $10 a drink. That's $20 a person. $20 times 50 people, $1,000 plus $500 entrance fee. That's $1,500. Now, if you had said to him, listen, Mr. Garl, we didn't have a good time. Somebody came in, took a knife, we had to leave, whatever the problem was, I'm prepared to give you $1,500. However, they put a $900 tab on your bill, and you just told me that you're contesting that, that you don't owe them anything. That's unreasonable, Mr. Nash.
No, it's not.
How much did they offer you to resolve this?
They wanted to take $650 off of the bar tab because they said that they didn't drink tequila, they didn't like tequila.
What was the whole tab that you have?
The whole tab of theirs is $22.97.
And they just wanted, uncross your arms.
No.
And they just wanted to take off $600?
And $50.
So they wanted to give you $1,700.
Yeah.
And what did you say to them?
I said this wasn't Mexico, it's not negotiable.
What does Mexico have to do with it? Why are you so racist
Well,
about that?
I'm not racist about
What's
it,
wrong
but
with this guy?
I actually had a conversation about them putting a car stereo in a car and then somebody saying they would obviously either remove it, but this is a situation where we can't.
But if I put something in someone's car that didn't ask for it, right? Just like as you put drinks on my tab that I didn't ask for, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to apologize
Nash,
to the customer for doing that.
The problem is, sir, when you make a party, how many bachelor parties have you made?
Have I made?
Yeah.
This is my first one.
Okay. Well, then maybe you need a little bit of an education. When you make any kind of a party, a function, and you have what they call an open bar, they're going to give you a bill at the end of the evening.
I'm familiar with that.
It's sort of understood that if you have an open bar, that you're going to have to trust the establishment or don't make the party. What?
Just want to say something, you're not going to get mad.
I don't guarantee you I'm not going to get mad.
All right.
I'm here because I get mad. What?
Big differences between an open bar and ordering when you're at the club is I did the ordering myself, so I know what I ordered.
You didn't order for all these people, especially for the
All these
procurers
people are people that we're hanging out with all the time.
No, listen to me.
But I know
listen
who
to
I'm
me.
hanging out
Cousin
with.
procurer went out and brought in girls
But that's
to
not
dance.
true. That's you just taking his word.
I am taking his word. You want to know why?
Tell
I'm
me.
taking his word, sir, because it's a bachelor party.
But it's not a
That's
bachelor-
what they do. You wanted to have a Tupperware party, you should have stayed home.
I know.
You owe $2,200. Pay the bill and don't make any more parties. You don't know how to do it. That's all.
Can I ask something for you?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I hope this guy's club goes out of business soon.
I would never do business with them again.
These guys don't check the people coming into their club. You know what I mean? I could have rolled out with a gun and no one had checked anything out.
It seemed to be his group that was the fight.
Unfortunately, I made a bad decision.
I think he has a champagne taste with a beer budget.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Matthews versus Hadsall. Step forward, please.
24-year-old Thomas Matthews is suing his ex-fiancée, 29-year-old Janice Hadsall, for the return of the engagement ring. Janice claims she sold the ring to pay bills.
Mr. Matthews, according to your complaint, you and the defendant became engaged.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
bought her a ring. You were supposed to move into a new townhouse.
Yes.
So far, that's correct. Is that right?
No, Thomas and I had never gotten engaged.
According to your complaint, you bought her an engagement ring.
Yes.
And you wanted to move into a townhouse. In order to do that, you had to break your lease. You paid the bills to do that, to break the lease.
Yes.
So that you could move into this new townhouse together.
Yes.
After you paid those bills, you found out that Miss Hadsall was sort of friendly with her ex-husband again. Are you now living in the townhouse, sir?
Yes.
And is living in the townhouse with the ex-husband, which was facilitated through your paying the bills to get her out of her old lease.
Correct.
That's
So
not
you
true.
want two things. You want the engagement ring back, and you want the bills that you paid.
Yes.
Let's talk about the ring first.
Okay.
You have it?
No, I don't.
Where is it?
Well, when Thomas and I was supposed to move in the townhome, he agreed to help me with the bills and the utilities and stuff like that. When he and I had split up or broken up, that I had to sell not only that ring, but some other items that I had for
I don't believe
my
you.
bills.
I think you're a liar. I think you just didn't bring it because you didn't want to give it to me. That's what I think. How much was the ring?
$2,069.56.
Describe it to me.
It was white gold. I believe it was 1.5 carats.
You have the bill for it?
Yes.
Calls it an engagement ring. And K Jewelers doesn't lie. Talk and talk fast.
We had started dating. We moved into an apartment together. We didn't like the apartment that we had gotten. He and I had some problems. We decided that after we were going to move out of the apartment together, that we went ahead and split up, and he moved out immediately into his parents' home. We had talked about, before we move into the townhome, possibly getting back together. The day after we got back together, he told me to meet him at the apartment, that he had a gift for me. When he showed up at my place, he gave me the ring. And I told him, you do understand that we just got back together, that we're not getting engaged? He said, that's fine. He had asked me, when do you think would be a good time to get engaged? And I told him, not even for a year from now.
You're
And
not
he
a
said that
nice
was
person.
fine.
You're not a nice person. Because whether you said it or not, bottom line is, you're old enough to know what an engagement ring looks like. And if you accept it, and if later you go back to your ex-husband, you be a nice person, and you give him back his ring so he doesn't feel like a fool. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Sometimes in a relationship, you are either the dumper or the dumpee. You got dumped on. The second part of your claim is that you got dumped on because you paid the bills to get her out of a lease so that she could move into a place that she really liked. And she did move into a place she really liked, only not with you. That's something that's not nice, but it's not something that's actionable in a court.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
When you filed for divorce against ex-husband, were you the plaintiff or defendant?
The plaintiff.
And what did you allege in the action for divorce? Don't say You remember. What were the grounds for divorce?
He had an alcohol problem.
So he was abusive?
Not physically abusive, mentally abusive.
He was abusive, right?
Yes.
Because when you have an alcohol problem, you're not only abusive to you, you're abusive to your children, right?
Not technically.
Oh, not technically.
No.
No. How do you think I'm so smart? You think he doesn't have an alcohol problem now?
No.
You don't think that?
No, I don't.
And you brought him back into the lives of your children.
Yes, I did.
That makes you doubly stupid. But that's your prerogative. Meanwhile, you owe him $2,070 for the engagement ring since it's not here. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Your Honor, this is case number 464 on the calendar in the matter of Strand versus Johnson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Strand, is this your ex-wife?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And you have one child together?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your claim is that after you divorced, you were paying child support, not always consistently.
Yes.
And there came a time that your former wife remarried, and she approached you with the idea of asking you to relinquish your parental rights, allowing her husband to adopt your child, a girl, in exchange for forgiving the arrears that you owed her in child support.
Yes, Your Honor.
You thought about that and decided that that would be a good idea.
After a period of time, yes, Your Honor.
And did, in fact, go to court and relinquish your parental rights.
I didn't go to court. I just went to the lawyer and signed off on the papers.
When did you do that?
I believe it was approximately June of 2005.
So your parental rights were terminated?
Yes, after the adoption was finalized.
Your claim is the state is now coming against you for the $3,800 that you owed in back child support.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you say that they're doing that despite the fact that you had an agreement with Miss Johnson.
Yes.
So you want the $3,800 because lots of bad things have happened to you. Like what, sir?
I've lost my driver's license and my source of income. I'm unable to find work right now.
What kind of work did you do?
I'm a truck driver by trade.
Miss Johnson says you never had a contract with her.
Correct.
When was this arrearage accumulated?
It started occurring when we'd separated before the divorce, and it had gone on and off when I'd get laid off in the wintertime. and was unable to make payments through my unemployment until I got back to work and started paying again.
How many children did you have?
I have one with him.
And how many others?
2 others.
How old are they?
They are now 22 and 20.
So this was the only minor child?
Correct.
And what kind of work were you doing when you separated?
I was working, I'm not certain, ma'am.
Were you ever receiving any sort of public assistance?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
When?
When we separated in 95.
And how long were you receiving welfare?
Till September of 96, I believe. I'm not certain.
Subsequent to 1996, and you say you're not certain, so it could have been longer.
Or shorter.
Or shorter. Subsequent to that, were you ever receiving any sort of public assistance again?
Yes.
When?
I don't recall the date, but I was receiving daycare assistance when I was working.
And how much child support were you paying, Mr. Strand, when you were paying it?
It started out at $200 a month, and through cost of living increases, it had gone up every 2 years. The last time that it got increased, it went up to $404 every month.
Now, were you aware of the fact that your wife at that time and your daughter were receiving welfare?
I was aware of the fact that they were getting daycare assistance, yes.
Well, at some point she was getting welfare, and at some point she was getting daycare assistance, which is also another form of public assistance. And was it at that time that you were paying $200 a month?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you always paying the $200 a month, or was that during the period of time when you were laid off, seasonally?
I always paid it when I was working, and when I would get laid off or when I was in between jobs, I wasn't paying it. But when I did get back to work, I always made a point to either contact the county or my ex-wife or both right away to let them know where I was working so that it could continue to be collected.
You understand, Mr. Strand, that this is your problem. Even if I believe that you had an agreement with your former wife that she would forgive the arrearages, she can't bind the state with regard to the arrearages. And if this $3,800 bill accumulated at a time when your daughter was receiving any sort of assistance, whether it be daycare or regular public assistance, she can't forgive that money.
Your Honor, there was a separate amount that was owed to the state and an amount that was owed to my ex-wife as the custodial parent. The part that was owed to the state has already been taken care of a long time ago.
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
When was that?
That was taken care of when I filed bankruptcy last October. It was a sum of $1,100, and I was able to put that onto my bankruptcy. So the $3,800...
So the state's never been paid?
No, the state was paid while I was paying child support. So much would go to my ex-wife, and so much would go towards what was owed to the state.
I thought you said that money was discharged in bankruptcy.
Not all of it, just what was owed at the time that I filed my bankruptcy. Yes.
So the state did not get their $1,100. You had it discharged in bankruptcy.
Yes.
Why didn't you add this money?
Because you're not allowed in the state of Minnesota to discharge
child support
until it gets turned over to your ex-wife or to collections as a debt owed.
Now, why, Miss Johnson, do you think that your former husband agreed to terminate his parental rights?
Your Honor, I believe that he looked at her as a dollar sign, and he was never keeping employment nor paying his bills, and he just felt that this was an easy way to get out of his obligation.
Well, you asked him to do that.
I suggested it, yes.
No, you asked him to do that. You approached him. He wouldn't think about that. You approached him. And what did you say when you approached him?
I just said that you are not being a very good father. My husband is willing to adopt our daughter. If you sign over your rights, I will consider it.
Consider what?
That I could sign off if it was...
If it was what?
If I was able to.
If you were able to what?
Sign it off.
Sign what off?
The back child support.
Well, why can't you? If the state's been paid, you can sign off the back child support.
Because I don't choose to.
But you made an agreement to do that, madam.
No, I did not.
Oh, yes, you did. You did. Because I don't believe that under those circumstances he would have gone to your lawyer. By the way, who paid his lawyer?
I don't know, ma'am.
I didn't have a lawyer, Your Honor.
Whose lawyer did you go to?
Mine.
I went to her lawyer to sign.
Oh, so you went to her lawyer?
Yes.
Made an appointment for him to go to see your lawyer?
He made an appointment, yes.
Who you paid?
Yes.
Miss Johnson, I don't believe you. And I have to make a judgment. You want to try to convince me that you didn't make an agreement with him and not give me this answer I choose not to? Come on.
He was just not paying his child support, Your Honor.
So you said to him, I'll forgive your child support if you sign over your parental rights.
No, I did not. I said my husband has an interest in being my daughter's father, and if you would sign off, he says, could we then forgive that child support? And I said, we'll talk about it. But no,
I don't believe that. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You want to know something? You're a scammer. I don't know how you got Social Security disability. At age 47, I know people who were 67 with asthma, they work. You must have had a really, really fine lawyer.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rick Strand claims ex-wife Marilyn Johnson owes for back child support that she agreed to forgive. Rick says the state is coming after him for the money.
So, the two of you signed an agreement when you came here. It was a binding arbitration, is that correct?
Yes.
I will draft an order to the state. What state?
State of Minnesota.
That I have determined after a hearing that you agreed to vacate any child support arrears that were owing to you in exchange for his agreement to terminate his parental rights and allow your husband to adopt the child. That is my finding. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please excuse, you may step out. Sir, wait here, sir.
He was just looking at our daughter as a dollar sign.
That upsets me greatly.
And he was trying to get out of his obligation of being a father.
I've always been a good father.
It's another one of his lies.
Well, I've already signed off on my parental rights.
Just leave us alone.
But I would hope that someday she'd want to talk to me and interact with me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Alvarez versus Burgos. Step forward.
Store owner Daniel Alvarez is suing his customer, Carmen Burgos, for cashing a counterfeit check at his store. Carmen says she was the victim of an internet scam.
Mr. Alvarez, what kind of store do you have, sir?
I have a general store. We sell music, we cash checks, we sell satellite. It's a little bit of everything.
The defendant was a customer of yours?
A regular customer. She had been there at least 4 or 5 occasions cashing checks.
And you charge a fee for that?
Yes, we do.
According to your complaint, sir, she came in with a check, which you cashed for her.
Correct.
And it turned out to be a bad check.
Yes.
And your bank withdrew the money from your account. You want her to compensate you for the check.
That is correct.
Ms. Burgos says it was a bad check. She was conned with this check, and she's sorry that you're out the money, but it's not her fault. It's the fault of the people who scammed her. That's her defense. Is that correct?
Yes,
Ms.
Your
Burgos?
Honor. I
All right.
shouldn't
So
be
I
held
want you to
liable
tell
for it.
What?
I shouldn't be held liable for it because I had the
Ms. Burgos.
evidence. Yes.
Let's start from the beginning. Where did you get this check from?
It was mailed to me.
From an employer?
No, I'm always on the computer and I'm always filling out sweepstakes and filling out numbers for lotto and that. So when I received the check...
So you received the check because you thought you won a prize?
Yes, correct.
Right,
But she didn't tell me that, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Don't interrupt her.
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, he wasn't there at the moment.
Listen to me.
Yes.
You got a check in the mail and you didn't know where it came from.
Correct. Yes, I thought
So
it was
you thought
a
maybe
sweepstake.
you won a prize that you had played around with on the computer.
Yes, correct.
You have a copy of the letter?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Well, I have a copy because I gave Mr. Alvarez the original and the
Right.
envelope dedicated.
Just a shh. Mr. Alvarez, I don't want you to interrupt her.
That's the original.
That is the original.
Cool.
And I also gave him the envelope it came in.
Now, this letter says that you won the North American Ballot Sweepstakes.
Correct.
And it tells you to call Debbie Baum in Canada.
Yes, Your Honor, and that's who I called.
Just for my own information, when you called her, what is it that you claim she said to you?
Well, I called her because at first I'm like...
Joe, tell me. Just answer my question.
I asked her about that I had received a check for a sweepstake for the sum of $2,900. And she told me yes, and I told her what it says here for processing. She goes, oh, no, that's no problem. You could go ahead and change. That's part of what you have won. There's 72 people that are in
I
with
read the
it,
letter.
too.
There's 72 people that are going to share in $1.8 million.
Right, and that's just the beginning of it, so you could
Fine.
go ahead and cash it.
Cash
So
it.
that's right.
Fine.
I went to
You have
Mr.
a copy of the check?
Yes, I have
I'd
the
like
original.
to see it. Oh, you have the original?
Yes.
Love
the bank
to see
returned it to me.
Love to see it. Shh. So you took the check into him?
Yes, correct.
To cash?
Yes. Like I've taken other checks.
State Employees Credit Union of Maryland, Inc. Well, I have to tell you, this certainly looks like, to my untrained eye, an official kind of check.
Correct. That's why I went to him and I cashed it.
Miss Burgos, I got it. You thought you woke up and it was your lucky day?
Yes, correct.
Bird, take a look at this. An interesting looking check? Right?
Wow. It even says official check.
It even says
Correct.
official
That's
check.
why I never-
And, just a minute, and they don't even ask you to do anything, like
Correct.
send them
That's
back
why-
half. in this letter.
That's why I was like...
Don't, I'm speaking. Don't bother me. They don't even ask you to send back half. You know, sometimes say, send us $500 as a processing fee, and they just say, here's your $2,900.
Does it see the back?
Yeah. She signed it, and it came back that it was suspected counterfeit. In any event, you gave her the money.
Yes, I did.
You have proof of that?
Just from the bank when they took the money out because...
I'd like to see it. Now, when you were notified by the bank,
Right.
yeah, they charged your account for $29.50.
Correct.
Okay. Now, when did you cash the check for her? On what date?
Around the 14th of November.
And the bank returned the check to you when?
They didn't return it until the 20th or 21st, but they notified me 2 days later. First,
So
they
on the
notified me.
16th?
Correct.
And when did you
I'm sorry, Your Honor,
notify?
it was after that.
Stop talking out! This is not a tea party! Now, when did you notify Miss Burgos?
That same day.
On the 16th, 2
exactly.
days later.
Exactly.
How did you notify her?
I called her son-in-law because I know her son-in-law very well, and I called him up and I asked him to bring her over.
And when did he bring her over?
That same day.
On the 16th?
Exactly.
Okay, now tell me on the 16th what you said to her and what she
I
said.
told her, Miss Burgos, this check has returned counterfeit from the bank.
And she said to you?
I didn't know, and she produced this letter.
Good.
Correct. I said I
Just-
didn't
just-
know.
So why didn't you return the money to him?
At the moment, I didn't have the money. I had paid some of debts that I had.
Just
So
a second. What difference does that make to him? Put your hand down. First of all, it's 2 days later.
It's not 2 days later, Your Honor. It was more than 2 days
How
later.
many days?
It was about 4 or 5 days later.
4 days later.
Correct.
Show me what debts you paid.
Well, I had some medical bills that I had to pay, so I went.
Just a second. So you paid your medical
Sure.
bills.
I
Medical
was
bills.
like-
What else? What else
I
did you
paid
pay?
my electric bill, my phone bill, all my bills, and I
Now,
had
let me
a
ask
few-
you this question, Ms. Burgos. Before you came into this cash windfall, how did you pay your electric bill?
Well, I would pay it monthly.
From what?
From what I receive and also.
What do you
my
mean from what you
children's-
receive? I don't understand that statement. Do you
Well,
work?
I get a Social Security check every month.
For what?
For a disability.
What's the nature of your disability?
For asthma, arthritis.
You have asthma and arthritis and you can't work?
No.
I know a lot of people who have asthma and arthritis who can work just fine.
I had problems. I was diagnosed with disability. So I.
Wait, just a second. When were you diagnosed with a disability from asthma and arthritis?
2 years ago.
Ms. Burgos, I'm believing less and less of what you tell me, madam, but I will tell you this. If you paid your bills, which you are responsible for paying, your medical bills, your electric bill, your phone bill, and I don't care what other kind of bills you paid, allegedly, and I know
And
you're
also I
lying.
bought
Listen
a
to me,
few-
and I know you're lying anyway.
No, I bought
Listen
a few
to me.
Christmas
Listen to me
presents,
very
yes.
carefully, and I know you're lying anyway. Then you have to pay him back the money.
Correct.
You paid your bills. You paid your bills. You're a scammer.
She told me
Let me
about-
ask you this question. Who do you live with?
I live with my son and my daughter.
How old are they?
My daughter's 22 and my son is 19.
And what does your daughter do for a living?
She works. And my son
And your
also.
son?
He works.
Works.
They're the ones that help me with all the bills.
Because you don't work?
Yes.
Because of your asthma?
Yes.
She didn't tell me that. That day when she came in, she told me that she had only spent about $500 to $700
No, I told you that's
of
what
the
I
money.
had.
Miss Burgos,
I had $500
Miss
to
Burgos.
$700.
I asked her specifically.
That's what I
I'm
told
so-
him I had.
Did you give it to him?
No, because he told me.
So why did you spend that money instead of giving it back to him?
Well, I didn't have it on me at that time.
Why didn't you go home and get it?
The gentleman told me, Mr. Alvarez told me that he was going to send that letter, the letter from that they had
That is
received
not
to
true.
the bank. Yes, it is, Mr. Alvarez.
Just
that
a second.
he was going to
So
take
what?
that
If
letter
there's a
to
question,
the
listen
bank.
to me. If there's a question, why didn't you say, listen, if there's a question and if this check was bad, I don't want Mr. Alvarez to be out the rest of this money. I'm going to hold what I haven't spent and give it to him if he's out of pocket.
Well, I had held it. I had it.
So
and
why
when-
didn't you give it to him?
Because when I spoke to Mr. Alvarez on the phone, I told him I have the $500. He says, no, I want all the money. That's what he said.
That is
and I
true?
says, well, I don't have all the money at the moment, okay? I could give you at least $500 at a time. He said, no, I want all the money at the same time.
You want to know something? You're a scammer. You've been scamming
no.
Social Security in all probability for the
No,
last
I
2
haven't.
years. I don't know how you got Social Security disability. How old are you?
I'm 47.
47. I know people who are 67 with asthma, they work.
I am disabled.
You must have had a really, really fine lawyer. You owe him $2,950, Miss Burgos. You were a scammer, and you knew you did the wrong thing as soon as he told you that check came back.
Yes.
People very rarely get windfalls of money from the internet. Very rarely. Don't look like this to me.
I'm not a scammer because
I don't know how I got Social Security disability. I don't know where I got this check from. I don't know. Well, now you know that this man who was doing you a favor cashed your check and got penalized because of your stupidity. He got penalized, but you said, listen, I got the money. Let him go after the people. Let him go after. I'm speaking.
No, I didn't.
Let him go after the people.
I did not think that way.
Well, then you should have returned the money that you hadn't spent.
Okay, he didn't want the money that I had not spent.
So you spent the rest. Just a second. Hey,
I still have the $500.
You're supposed to set an example, Miss Burgos, for your children. You're not supposed to be a scammer.
I'm not a scammer.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you believed in getting something for nothing.
No,
and you put him in a very precarious position. You've got a lot of nerve.
I've never.
You've got a lot of nerve. Your children should not. Your children are not going to be proud of you after today. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,950. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. Yeah, this is case number 458 on the calendar in the matter of Bell versus Carper. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks.
How are you related to her?
I'm not related to her. I'm the witness's mother.
Which witness?
Right.
Jesse.
I don't know.
You don't know she's your mother?
No, I do, but I mean, I don't know how this all came about.
I do.
We're going to find out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Bell.
Yes.
How old are you?
22.
You work?
Yes.
For whom?
My father.
Doing what?
I'm a receptionist of his company. I've been working there for about 5 years.
Is it a successful company?
Yes.
How many children are there in your family?
I have one brother and one sister.
Is your sister younger or older?
She's older. She's 32.
So you're the baby daughter?
Yes.
Pretty one.
Thank you.
According to what I read, you used to be involved romantically with him.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's going to sit up and uncross his arms.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And he was a friend of this one.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So you became a friend of this one.
Well, I was friends with him before Jesse and I actually got into a relationship.
And I gather that your father must have been thrilled with your choice of boyfriends.
Absolutely not.
Now, I could tell that before I even sat down. Because these two charmers ended up in jail.
Correct.
For whatever. We'll figure it out. And it is your claim that you loaned Mr. Carper money to pay off his criminal fines.
Correct.
Mr. Carper says that you did pay off his criminal fines, and you did so as a gift because you were a friend of his. He says you were more than a friend of his, that you had a romantic relationship.
We were never boyfriend and girlfriend.
Listen, he didn't say boyfriend and girlfriend, he just says you were intimate with both of them.
No.
And all I can say is yuck. Can you imagine a father who has a company that has enough money to employ a receptionist? And this is the boyfriend and this is the friend that she goes to visit both of them in jail? How many times did you go to visit them in jail?
I never visited them in jail.
Oh, good. At least, thank God for that. What were you in jail for, Mr. Carper?
Personal reasons, man.
Personal reasons is not a criminal offense.
Shh,
Quiet!
I made stupid decisions, Your Honor.
Mr. Carper, when I ask a question, I expect an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
What were you in jail for?
Possession.
Possession of?
Schedule II substance.
What kind of substance?
Pills.
Was it the first time you were arrested?
No, ma'am.
And the last time you were arrested was when, sir?
Before I got incarcerated.
When were you incarcerated?
It's March of 2002.
And how long were you in prison?
30 months.
What prison?
Coffeewood and Camp 7.
Are you still on parole status?
Yes, ma'am.
Until when?
It's indefinite.
You're on indefinite parole?
Yes, ma'am.
Fabulous. Now, your friend, what's his name?
Jesse Goff.
Jesse. How long have you and Jesse been friends?
Since I was 5 years old, ma'am.
And what was he in prison for?
Assault.
Assault?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had Jesse and Miss Bell been friends?
They had known each other for a long time. I never met her. She said I knew her before they started dating. I never met this girl until I came home. I didn't know who she was. So that's a lie right there.
How long did you think they were involved? When he was in prison with you, right?
We were in a county jail together.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
When were you in the county jail together?
2003.
Did he know her then? Were they involved then?
I take it. No, they weren't involved.
No, we were
When
not.
did you first hook up with Jesse?
I started talking to Jesse actually back in high school, about 9th grade.
When did you start to see him romantically?
I want to say July.
And he's just out of jail?
Yes.
You're his mother?
I am.
Sometimes you bake a souffle and it falls. Happens. Tell me about the loan.
I loaned him $4,589 on September 29th to pay off his charges, which I have receipts of.
Well, tell me how it came about that you laid out that money.
Well, I saw him apply after job after job after job, and he kept getting turned down because he didn't have his license. And
what do you mean you saw him?
Well, I would take him and Mr. Goff to apply at jobs. And
why would you do that?
I was trying to help them out by taking them to fill out job applications so they could get a job, and I didn't want them to get locked back up. And I asked Mr. Carper if I were to pay off his fines, he could get his license and get a job, and if him and Jesse were willing to be my roommates, because I'm going through separation, so I...
Separation from?
My husband.
You have any children?
I have a 3-year-old daughter.
So you wanted to take your 3-year-old daughter and be their roommate?
Yes.
Who do you live with now?
Now I live with my parents. I'm currently trying to sell.
Stay there, because your judgment is impaired, big time.
Recently it has been, I do agree.
If you are a 22-year-old woman and your judgment is impaired and all you're doing is hurting yourself, that's one thing. But to take your 3-year-old child and on purpose move in out of your parents' home into an apartment with 2 convicted felons who are on parole, one for drugs, and I'm not so sure about him now, is the kind of lapsed judgment that your parents aren't going to tolerate.
It's actually a house that I own, and my husband, my ex, moved out, and I could not afford the mortgage, and I actually lived there, and it was either I find some roommates or I try to
I don't
sell
care
the
if you
home.
have to live in a shelter. You don't take a 3-year-old child and put a 3-year-old child in a circumstance where you have 2 convicted felons, one of whom was there for pills.
I agree.
Got it?
It was also cocaine.
So you paid off his fines?
Yes.
And how was he supposed to pay you back?
He was going to pay me monthly because I actually charged it on a credit card, and he agreed to pay me monthly. At first, a little bit over the minimum payment, and then, you know, he was going to pay me a lot more.
What were the fines for? Can I see the piece of paper that you have? You think that's a real diamond in his ear?
It definitely is.
I doubt it.
Is that a real diamond in your ear?
Of course, ma'am. I don't wear fake things.
What?
I said I don't wear fake things. Yes,
Could I
it is.
see it, please?
You
Yeah,
said
take it out.
Wow.
Thank you. Felony fee, fines, $1,000. Felony fee, $350. Jail admission fee, $25. And court-appointed attorney, $437. Love it. Commonwealth of Virginia. Good for Virginia. And what would happen to you, Mr. Carper, if you didn't pay these fines?
They would probably violate my parole.
And then what would happen to you?
Then I would not see the light of day forever.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Payment of the fine is what?
Punishment.
Right. And if you let somebody else pay your fines, you're allowing somebody else to do your...
Punishment, man.
Is he a quick learner or what?
It's quick.
And later today,
This guy is no good. No bargain, no good, no way.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chastity Bell claims her ex-boyfriend's friend, Anthony Carper, owes for a loan to pay court fines.
What do you think fines are for, sir?
To be paid, ma'am.
Because they're part of your what?
Probation.
Part of your what? Punishment.
Yes, ma'am.
And if somebody else pays your fine, then you have no...
Punishment.
Right! Why do you think a court would allow that to happen?
Because it's the law, ma'am.
What's the law? Why do you think a court would allow somebody else to do your punishment? Let me ask you this, sir. We've already established that payment of the fine is what?
Punishment.
Right. And you're going to jail was a form of...
Punishment, ma'am.
Now, you couldn't say to somebody else, listen, I want you to do me a favor. I don't feel like going to jail. I'm going to go out and sell a whole bunch of pills and maybe a little cocaine, so I'm going to have a couple of bucks, you know. I'm going to give you $10,000 to do my 30 months. You think that the state would permit that to happen?
No, ma'am.
What would the person say to you now? I don't mind going to jail. I have nothing else to do. I could really use the $10,000. I'll go to jail for you for the 30 months. You think the state would permit that?
No, ma'am.
Because then you wouldn't be doing your own
Punishment.
And if you let somebody else pay your fines, you're allowing somebody else to do your...
Punishment, man.
Is he a quick learner or what? So the first thing you have to do in order to do your punishment is sell your diamonds. That's what the first thing that people do is sell their diamonds, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then they pay the rest of their debt, $4,500. Maybe you can get $89 for this taupe diamond. When did you give him up as a boyfriend?
We weren't really actually together because he's not capable of just having one girlfriend. We were supposedly together for probably about maybe a month.
You are an articulate, nice-looking girl who clearly has very low self-esteem. Because if you didn't have low self-esteem, you wouldn't have been involved with either one of them.
Correct.
You have parents who have a business, you have a child, you've made some bad judgments, but you're only 22 years old. You have the capacity to change. You have anything you want to add to what I've already said?
I do.
I mean, I'm just dying to hear why you would come be her witness if your son is sitting over there.
Because what's wrong is wrong, and you're absolutely right. He's skating his punishment.
Do you have anything new to add?
I think it's a fine how you do to thank somebody for doing all that she did for you.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. By the way, did she also pay your son's fines?
Yes, she did.
Did he pay her back?
No, we actually go to court for that on March 7th in Prince William County.
Should we just hang out here?
Just a second. Just a second. So why don't you do this? You're his mother, right?
I am.
You made him. You raised him. Why don't you pay his fines?
Because he's 24 years old and I'm not responsible for him anymore.
Right, yeah, I know, but you're more responsible than a stranger. Maybe you should just let
I
him
would
go
not
back
have
to
paid
jail.
his fines in the first place.
You would let him go back to jail?
I would.
You're absolutely right. Sit down. In any event, she paid $4,589 in order to keep you free. I'm entering a judgment for $4,500 and his diamond. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It is what it is, man. She was messing with him. Me and her had a little thing going on.
I made a mistake by trying to help both of them out, and it blew up in my face.
If me and her would have stayed talking, this would have never came about.
Doesn't matter if he's seeing her or not. The money is still owed.
Money is nothing to me. I'll take care of it.
Picking up the phone the day Jesse called me was one of the biggest mistakes I made.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Murray versus Easton, step forward, please.
23-year-old Lisa Murray is suing her ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old Ish Easton, for the cost of a plane ticket to New Jersey. Ish claims Lisa is being vindictive.
Miss Murray, Mr. Easton and you dated briefly, according to your complaint, and you believe he owes you for an airline ticket that you purchased for him in order that the two of you go home to meet the parents. And then you broke up. For the trip, Mr. Easton says that the going home to meet the parents was strictly your idea. He never asked you to buy the ticket. You bought it on your own, so you pay for it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you meet him?
February 2006. We were working together.
And when did you start dating?
We started dating in the beginning of June 2006.
And when did you want to go and introduce him to your family?
Through the month of June or in the beginning of July 2006, our relationship became serious.
No. You're talking so fast I can hardly understand you. I asked you a simple question. When did you want to take him home to meet your parents?
July 2006.
After 4 weeks? Why?
Well, I had missed my family very much, and he also said that he would like to go. He was excited about going to see New York City and seeing New Jersey.
If he was so excited, why didn't he buy his own ticket?
He currently did not have the money at the time, nor did he have a credit card.
What was the arrangement that you made with him?
That when we came back from our trip, that he would be reimbursing me.
And when did you break up?
September 7th, 2006.
And when were you supposed to go to New York?
September 9th, 2006.
I'll hear you.
After she had initially brought the idea to go visit her parents, I told her then, I was like, well, I don't have money.
No, look at me.
Oh, I told her then, I don't have money to pay you back for any kind of ticket before we even discussed repaying anything.
Why would you say that to her? I thought you met at work.
This is after we started dating, man.
No, listen to me. You're not listening. You don't have your listening ears on. You said, I don't have any money. And she just told me that you met at work in February of 2006. What kind of work were you doing?
I, at the time, was working at Home Depot, man.
And in July, where were you working?
I worked for a structural engineering firm.
And in August?
Still work there, man.
Okay, so you were working, you were employed.
Yes.
Do you have children?
No, before dating Miss Murray, I was in a previous relationship. Separating from that relationship, I had to move back home. But upon moving back home, my parents were like, well, you got to help pay bills and stuff like that. So I pay half of everything.
So?
Leaving pretty much nothing.
Well, that's not true. You have money to eat out, right?
On occasion, ma'am. And that was money that I was like, Mom, you know, can I borrow $50 to go out? Or
Mr. Easton, when you discussed with Miss Murray going to New York, I don't believe that you said to her, I don't have the money to pay you now, and I'll never have the money to pay you back. Because I don't think that under those circumstances she would have continued to see you, because that would have sounded like something a bum would say. I don't have money now, maybe. I'll never have money to pay you back. I wouldn't have taken you to meet my parents. I would have been humiliated to take you. You're a bum. If you say, I'll never have any money to buy an airline ticket for $295. So I don't believe that you said that to her. I believe that you probably said to her, I don't have money to pay for it now. That I believe. Now, when did she buy the ticket?
she called me and was like, I bought tickets to go to New Jersey.
No,
And I
you
was
had
like,
already discussed it. So don't say it came as a surprise to you. It
I don't
didn't
know
come as a surprise.
I don't know the exact date of her
When did you
buying
purchase the tickets?
July 25th, I purchased the tickets. I have phone calls.
Shh. And she told you that she purchased them in July.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And you were working in Home Depot.
I was working at Home Depot and the engineering firm at the same time.
So two places.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with the ticket?
I was unable to refund it because he broke up with me within 24 hours prior to canceling it.
You have the bill?
Yes.
Why did you break up right before you were ready to leave for New York, sir?
Well, there was a span of like 2 weeks where her and I barely ever saw each other. And that was because my work schedule at the engineering firm went from a regular 8-hour day to 9 to 12-hour days. And I didn't have time to see her. It was work, home, work, bed, pretty much.
Okay.
A gentleman that I play football with, his girlfriend and Miss Murray became very good friends, hanging out, had informed me that the plaintiff had gone to MySpace and read a quote that I'd written on MySpace. And that was one of the first issues. One of the other issues was
Did you say something not nice about her?
I didn't say anything toward her at all. The quote that I left on my page said, due to the pain caused by love, to love I say. And that was nothing toward her previous relationship exactly to that. Then it went from that to she had been saying, oh, I don't have money, I don't have money, I don't have money. Well, then my friend's girlfriend is like, oh, we went shopping today. And Lisa bought this, and Lisa bought that, and Lisa
Why
bought
does
this.
it make any difference to you whether she said, I don't have money?
Well, because if you're going to tell me you don't have money, then how are you going to turn around and go shopping?
She wasn't asking for money from you, was she?
Initially broke up with her because she lies. You can't trust a liar. You can trust a thief because you know they're going to steal. You can trust a killer, you know they're going to kill, but you can't trust a liar. I asked her, I said, well, did you go on my MySpace page and read that? She said no. And before that, I said, is there anything you want to tell me about that you haven't said to me in the past? No, there's nothing I can think of.
You're going to get your $295 back for the ticket. Before you leave, you should get down on the floor, on all fours, kiss the ground, and say, God, thank you for terminating this relationship, because this guy is no good. I don't know if you're good, but I can tell you right now, he's a bum. He's always going to be a bum, because he makes excuses for what he does that bear no resemblance to reality. That's what he just did. He just gave me a whole cock and bull story. In reality, he probably found somebody else to cover some of his bills. Because when someone is so smitten with a woman, they don't not see them for 2 weeks. They may give up sleeping, but they won't go work, job, work, school, work, and not see the person for whom they have lost their heart. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So he made up a whole big story. Nothing in his story was true. So you're a very lucky girl that you got rid of him, because for somebody who doesn't like lying, he has become very proficient at it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $295. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Your Honor's case number 495 on the calendar in the matter of Dye versus Springer. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a model.
You make a lot of money?
It's average. I wouldn't say a lot.
Well, give me an example. You filed your tax returns last year. What did you earn in your tax returns last year?
I just started modeling like maybe 3 months ago.
Well, then what did you do last year?
I worked at Dillard's.
And how much did you earn at Dillard's last year?
$5,000. I didn't work many hours.
Well, where did you live?
In San Angelo.
With whom?
The defendant, Jeffrey Scott Springer.
I'm sorry.
Was he supporting you?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you certainly weren't supporting yourself,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Springer, what do you...
I'm listening. I'm sorry. I mean,
What do you do for a living, sir?
I work in a call center.
Call center.
Yes, ma'am. For Progressive Insurance.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've only been doing that for about 3 months in Austin.
Sir, what I want you to do is tell me, Mr. Springer, what you were doing last year when you were supporting Miss Dye.
I worked for Capital One at a call center also.
They didn't do that commercial that they do and fashion it after you, did they?
No, ma'am.
Adorable. You were supporting the plaintiff when you were living together?
That would be correct.
How much did you earn?
$25 a year.
$25,000?
That'd be correct.
Allowed you to buy that beautiful gold chain that you're wearing that's blinding me. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Miss Dye, so he's supporting you for the year, right?
Yes, ma'am. But before last year, I also worked at a gym. I managed a gym in San Angelo.
$425 ain't supporting nothing, so I don't see where you get
$6, thank you.
$6. Keep you in mascara.
$6.
Now, this is your claim. Your claim is that you purchased, on your credit, new rims and wheels for him.
I financed them for him.
Did you use a credit card?
No, ma'am.
Did you pay cash?
No. I went to Credit World with him in San Angelo.
It's a rent to own.
A rent to own.
There you go.
Because that's something that nobody can do without. New rims and wheels, right, Bert?
Rent to own rims and
Rent
wheels.
to own.
I have a picture of it.
You want to know something? I don't need to see it. Unless they have a picture of Bird in the middle, I'm not interested in taking a look at it. Because I think that's the most ridiculous thing. You know, I can understand if you buy new tires because your tires are bald and you need tires to get around, but somebody who earns $4.25 an hour and somebody who is supporting two people on not a lot of money doesn't need fancy spokes for their car. You know, you should put away some money maybe for college education.
That would be why she was getting supported by me, is because she was going to college.
Good. Anyway, you financed these rims and wheels. You paid some of it off, but when you broke up, he stopped paying the rest.
Correct.
No, my arm is hurt. I can't.
Rest it on the table, sir.
It's
Don't
hard.
cross your arms. What?
It's hard.
It's hard?
I mean,
then
go ahead.
just suffer for a while you're here.
Oh, I'd be more than happy to try to.
Good. Did you pay for some of these rims and wheels?
Yes.
How much did you pay?
Everything but the $12.56.
Okay, so why don't you owe her for the rest?
As we broke up, I moved back to Austin. I went to jail for driving on a suspended license. I informed her that I was not going to pay for the car. I called the dealership. They had impounded the car. I informed her that I needed the manufacturer tires back to give the dealership so I could get those tires back and give them either to her or to Credit World. She no longer had the manufacturer tires. So she didn't give them to me. They gave me 20 days to pick them up off that vehicle. She never gave me nothing, so I could not get them.
So your defense is that you contacted her after how long?
4 or 5 months, maybe.
And then you called her and you said, listen, if you want the rims and wheels, because they're going to repossess the car, you have to come down with the original ones.
Correct.
Where were the original ones?
They gave me 20 days.
No.
I'm not sure where the original was.
Well, what did you expect her to do? Hold on to the original ones forever?
Well, most people hold on to their manufacturer.
Most people hold on to their rims. I'm going to tell you something.
Manufacturers.
I'm going to tell you something. Mr. Springer, without going into make and model, suffice it to say, sir, that I have a lot of cars. I have never held on to, well, not only have I never held on to rims and wheels, I've never bought rims and wheels. I buy a new car. Car comes with wheels. That's what's on the car. That's what I drive. They're round. They work. That's fine.
That's true.
How many rims and wheels do you have in your garage?
Just sitting here off the car.
Off the car?
None.
None. You want to know why? Because we have other junk to put in garages. You know, where are you supposed to put the bicycles and the trash cans.
And the cars.
And the cars. So, Mr. Springer, let us assume... Boy, I can't tolerate him. Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We would like to know, what is it you take?
What do you mean, what does it not take?
You seem to be so happy. Do you take a special kind of coffee or
No.
tea? Do you drink a special kind of juice?
And later today,
My first child, I gave up to adoption. And she came to me and said that since I did not have a car, that if I gave my child to her friends, she would give me the car.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Christy Dye claims ex-boyfriend Jeffrey Springer owes for new wheels and tires. Jeffrey says he supported Christy for 2 years.
Mr. Springer, I want to ask you a question. Sometimes I wake up in a bad mood. Now, I know that that might be hard for you to believe. It might be hard for the rest of the world to believe that sometimes I wake up in a bad mood. And I might venture to say sometimes Officer Petrie Hawkinsburg might wake up in a bad mood. Sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. We would like to know, what is it you take, sir?
What do you mean, what does it not take?
You seem to be so happy, sir.
Yeah, I mean,
you seem to be inordinately happy.
It's hilarious to me that she's suing me over $1,200.
You seem to be
it's...
happy under the most dire circumstances.
Yeah.
So we would like to know, do you take a special kind of coffee or tea? What mixture do you take in the morning? Do you drink a special kind of juice? Do you eat a special kind of cereal in the morning to make you as happy as you are?
No, I'm happy individual.
You're happy?
I mean, but...
I hope you're happy. All the way to the bank where you're going to send her $1,257.03. Because I don't think I don't think that she has to hold on to your old rims in case your car gets impounded. Goodbye, Mr. Springer. Thank you.
Parties are excused.
You gotta be
Step
kidding.
out.
$1,200? Oh. My chain costs $200, boss man.
I'm pleased. I mean, he owed me the money, and I'm glad it's over and done with, and we can both go on with our own lives.
It's not petty to her, because she needs the $1,200. I don't need it.
We were together, and we were in a relationship.
I don't feel like I owe her anything.
I'm a nice person, and I mean, I try to do a favor for someone, and look what happened.
If anything, she owes me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Breeden versus Strybee. Step forward, please.
23-year-old Michelle Breeden is suing her mother, Ollie Strybee, for breaking their agreement regarding the sale of a home. Michelle says Ollie kept proceeds that were supposed to go to her.
Ms. Breeden, the defendant is your mother. You and your husband and child or children?
2 children.
2 children. Moved into a home that your mother bought, and the idea was that you would live there with an option to buy it at such a time when your credit became substantial enough for you to get a mortgage and your finances sort of settled down. While you were living there, you claimed that you made certain improvements in the house, invested close to $4,000. And then, according to you, your mother decided that since the housing market had taken off, she was no longer interested in selling you the house at the price that she had paid for it, which was your agreement. But she wanted to sell it on the open market, which she did at a profit, and you believe that she should pay you for the money that you invested in improving the house.
Yes, sure.
That's the lawsuit.
Yes.
Your mother says that you and your husband, was it your husband, separated. You were no longer interested in purchasing the house. You moved out. She did, in fact, sell the house at a profit, but it is her claim that you were the one who told her, I can't buy the house anymore because we're separated. So she sold the house to somebody else. When did you purchase this house, Ms. Strybee?
In April 2004.
And how much did you pay for it?
$102,500.
And what was the financial arrangement with your daughter with regard to how much rent she was going to pay?
She agreed to pay the mortgage payment on the house.
Which was how much, Ms. Breeden?
It was just shy of $900, Your Honor.
Okay. I'd like you to tell me when you were advised by your mother that she was planning on selling the house.
I was advised about 6 months prior to moving out that she was going to sell the house because she was no longer interested in selling us the house at what she paid for it. She was interested in making a profit off of us and wanted to sell the home to us for nearly $160,000.
That wasn't the original
Just a
agreement.
second. Did you discuss that with your mother? You said you found out. Did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I had a conversation with Ollie. I told her that I couldn't make payments on $160,000. So we decided that we were no longer going to buy it because she wanted so much more for it.
Okay. Now, what was your arrangement with your mother at the time she purchased the house?
When she purchased the house, she was going to let us move into it. We were going to cover the mortgage for 1 year, and then after 1 year, we were going to try to get our finances in a situation that we could get appropriate financing.
And what happened in 2005?
Right after my second child was born, we went in to get a mortgage. It was not satisfactory. We discussed renting it longer from her. That was fine with her. A couple months into 2005, she was trying to buy another home for herself. So she discussed selling the home if we could not buy it from her. I said, well, we've already put nearly $4,000 worth of our own money into it. And if you sold it, I would at least like to get that money back out of it to use as a down payment if we chose to move somewhere else. That was fine with her. We moved out the end of February, and she put the house on the market in March. It took her till November 1st to sell the home.
Gotcha.
When she sold the home, I came to her halfway through November, and she said something about she didn't want to discuss it through the holidays, so I came back to her at the beginning of January of 2007. By that time, she said that she didn't have the money and that she thought that since she had to pay the mortgage from the time we moved out to the time it sold, that she believed she no longer owed us the amount that we were asking for.
Gotcha. Okay. Now we'll hear you.
Michelle and her husband were expecting their second child and living in a hotel. And although Michelle and my husband doesn't get along very well, I didn't want them to be living in a hotel when the second child.
So you
so
made
we
this
bought
arrangement.
this house for them.
Got it.
The arrangement was that she would pay the mortgage payment for the year.
I got it so far. There are certain things that are not contested. You were a nice mom, bought the house, let them live in it, covered the mortgage payment, and then there came a time when you wanted to buy another house. You couldn't buy another house because you already had this house. So let's go.
The arrangement was for her to buy the house at the end of a year. I told her I'd give her a year.
She
So
said that.
at the end of that year, she didn't have her finances
Got it.
fixed.
Got it. That's what you said.
So her husband had moved out. She said that she couldn't afford to make the payments anymore with him paying for someplace else to live, and that she was fine with me going ahead and putting the house on the market, and that they would move out. Our original agreement for the year was at the end of the year, if I sold her the house, I would credit her how much she's paid for the mortgage, so that would cover her 10% down she needed to buy it herself.
I'm talking about the $3,900 that your daughter says you discussed at the time she moved out, that she had invested in improving the house, and that you had said to her, the time when the house is sold, I'll give that back to you.
I don't remember that conversation, not when she was moving out. I only discussed with her when we first bought the house that any improvements she made in the house at that time, if she didn't buy the house, I would pay her back for it at the end of the year.
Oh, fine. So that discussion was had. Fine. Let me see what you put into the house. How much did you sell the house for, Ms. Tribe?
$149,500.
Okay. What did you tile?
We tiled about 1,000 square feet, the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, both bathrooms, and a hallway. The only thing in the house that wasn't tiled was the 3 bedrooms.
She bought the tile and I put it down.
It's fine. You got the profit. How much did you clear, Ms. Tribe?
Altogether, we probably made about $20,000 off the house.
Okay.
And I did give her, during this period when we were selling the house, they had repossessed her van and she had no transportation. So I signed over my 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee to her.
That agreement for that Jeep has nothing at all to do with the home. My first child, I gave up to adoption within this period of time. And I was going to give it to a couple that was in Miami that I did not know. And she came to me and said that since I did not have a car, that if I gave my child to her friends, she would give me the car, and her friends are very good people. But that was the agreement for the Jeep, and that has nothing at all to do with this home.
That's not true. I would never offer to sell my grandchild. That was what he needed, because he had already been taken out of her possession once and placed with me for custody.
How old is he?
He's 6. He's 2 weeks younger than my 6-year-old. I have a 6-year-old as well. And during this period, which is why the husband moved out, is because he was taken away from them and put in my custody.
This still has nothing to do with the house, Your Honor.
It did, and that was the point where she couldn't afford to make the payments anymore.
Where is your husband now?
My husband right now is in Cocoa, Florida.
Do you live with him?
No, I do not.
Who do you live with?
I live with 2 roommates, and I cover a third of the rent. My friend Lisa and her husband cover a third of the rent, and then my brother-in-law and his wife cover the other third of the rent.
Are you still married?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
This arrangement just happened within the last few weeks because her husband's been in jail.
At the time that you were living in this house, who was working, you or your husband?
My husband was working, and I owned my own business.
What kind of business?
It was a children's consignment shop.
That I helped her open.
So you were both working?
Yes.
So whatever money you invested in the house, you would only be entitled to half of this. Is that right? The other half would be your husband's?
Yes, Your Honor, if you want to look, yes, that would be correct.
Okay. You think your mother has been reasonable or unreasonable with you?
I think my mother has been selfish and incapable of being a mother.
In the relatively short time, Ms. Stribey, that I have to spend with you, I'm never going to be able to figure out the pathology of your family. But it clearly seems to me that your daughter, whether rightfully or wrongfully, labors under the assumption that you had an agreement, which I find to be potentially a valid agreement, that whatever improvements they put into the house that might inure to your benefit when you sold the house, you would reimburse her for if the house wasn't sold to them. That's a reasonable expectation. And truth is, you sold the house for a profit. And if it were me, I would have said, you know what? She's not in great shape. Let me give her what she put into it and let her move on. That's what I would have done.
I did offer, when she started looking for another home right away, I went out with her, and I was more than willing to help her find another home. And if she at some point in the future, you know, was going to buy one, her father and I had already discussed, you know, we would each pay half the deposit. I've given her lots of money.
I assume that that's true.
But I've always made her pay me back, and I think she's very ungrateful.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1950, which represents 1/2 of the amount that you invested in the house. The other half is not your claim, belongs to your husband.
Okay.
Got it? Good. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 521 on the calendar in the matter of Beischer versus Schmidt.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
This used to be your boyfriend. When you were having a lapse in judgment while he was your boyfriend, you co-signed on a credit card for him to buy a dirt bike because he couldn't get it on his own.
Correct.
And the agreement was that he was to make the payments faithfully on that credit card.
That's correct.
He did make payments for a period of time on the credit card, and you separated. But he agreed to continue to make the payments on his bike, which he was using and which he took with him. Correct?
Correct.
Then there came a time that you and your fiancé, this would be fiancé, went to purchase a car. And you found out that your credit was awful. When you checked to ascertain why, according to your complaint, you found out that Mr. Schmidt had not been faithfully making on time the credit card payments on his bike. So what you want now is you want him to pay off that credit card so that hopefully you can get your credit restored.
That's correct.
Mr. Schmidt says that he was paying off the credit card until you slashed his tires.
That's ridiculous.
Shh. So that the fault is really yours for slashing his tires, causing him to lose his job. Have we joined the issue, Mr. Schmidt? Hello? You say in your answer it's really her fault.
Yes, I believe it is.
Perfect. I would like to see the date of the credit card loan and the history of payments.
I have that right here. This only goes back a year. They wouldn't.
Fine.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Schmidt, on what day, sir, do you claim your tires were slashed?
On May 8th of 2006, I had 2 tires on my vehicle that were slashed. And then also again in October of 2006, I had another tire slash on my car.
Just a second. After which incident, sir, did you lose your job?
The second.
So it's really the October of 2006 incident that you claim caused you to lose your job.
Yes.
And fall behind in your payments.
Yes.
So it would be a fair statement, sir, that it wasn't until October of 2006 that you started making either late payments or skipping payments or anything else. Up until that time, they were okay.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Your Honor, can I point something out?
Shh. Maybe if I need some help. Well, sir, in September of 2006, which was before your tire was slashed, you had a late fee of $39.
Okay.
That's before, right?
Yep.
And in August, which was before your slashed tires, you had a late fee of $39.
That would be after the first.
You just told me, sir, that you didn't lose your job until after the October incident.
Yes, but missing days of work.
No. Baloney. The issue was that after the October incident, you lost your job because of the tire slashing, causing you to fall behind in your payments. And you said to me prior to that time you were on time with your payments. So we now have August and September where you were late. Are you following me, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes, I am.
Who is this?
This is my witness, Jason.
Maybe. Jason. Now we have July. Late, Mr. Schmidt. And how much, sir, were you supposed to pay every month?
It's about $70.
So sometimes you didn't pay at all. And then you sort of doubled up the next month, right?
Yes.
You can't do that. You know you can't do that. Look at what we have here. A June late assessment. And you didn't make a payment. Whole month of June.
Is it possible, though, that me without a vehicle, how is it possible for me to get to work, to make money, to make payments on this?
What are you talking about? Who cares about whether you have a vehicle?
How do you get to work?
I don't care how you get to work. Walk, crawl, get your witness to pick you up. Now, let's go back to before the first incident, Mr. Schmidt, that you allege she slashed your tires, which you have to prove to me anyway. Let's go back to April now. Even you will know, Mr. Schmidt, that April comes before May,
yes.
right? How do you account for the late charge in April, Mr. Schmidt?
I don't.
Right. So the cock and bull story that you gave me is just that. You've been making late payments on this loan forever, because we also have one for March. So what do I care how you get to work? How did Abe Lincoln get to school? I'm waiting for an answer.
Walk.
That's what he did. He walked. And you remember from grammar school how many miles he walked to school every day?
No, I don't.
I think it was 5 miles each way, wasn't it, Bert? I think something like that. 5 miles each way. Do you understand, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
When somebody else does a nice thing to you, what you're supposed to do is not be a pig. If you want to, you get the loan totally out of her name, and then if you want to screw up your credit, you do it. But you don't screw up her credit. Now, how much is left on the loan?
The grand total is about $6,700.
Well, the maximum I can award you is $5,000. You understand that? And the check will be directly to the credit card company which holds the loan.
Yeah.
You're still responsible, as is he, for the remainder of it.
Right.
And he's responsible to pay it.
Right.
Who do you work for?
I actually just got a new employment job. It's DeLuca and Tobin. It's a drilling company.
Well, you would have no objection if they deducted the remainder of the balance, anything over $5,000 from your check, would you? Listen to what I just said. You owe the money. You have the dirt bike, don't you?
Yes.
The maximum I can give her is $5,000. That will be made directly to the credit card company. You still owe them about $1,600. Are you prepared to sign an authorization to allow them to take the remainder of the money at periodic payments out of your check?
Yes.
Perfect. We will prepare that order and send it over to the drilling company and any other company that you might work for subsequently. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Schmidt, you sure you want me to do this to your friend? You sure you want me to do this to your friend?
Yes.
Be my pleasure, sir.
And later today,
You can't complain about it if somebody says, this is really funny. I want to send it to everybody that I know who knows this jerk who posted this on Craigslist. Let's get to the slashed tires. Did you slash his tires in May?
Absolutely.
You don't look like a tire slasher.
No.
You didn't see her slash your tires, did you?
No, I didn't.
Did you?
I did not see her, no.
Step up. Your name?
Jason
Jason what?
Moyer,
How do you know her?
through him.
When was the last time you had any contact with her?
While.
A while is not a month,
Well,
a
I
year.
don't talk to her, but I've seen her around town.
When was the last time you had contact with her?
Last fall, or around there.
Tell me about that contact.
Well,
Look at me.
I was at the bar and I had walked by and
Bar? What bar?
Krieger's possibly.
What do you mean Krieger's possibly?
Well, it was either that bar or another one over there.
What time?
Probably 8 or 9 at night.
What date?
I'm not exactly sure.
What month?
October or November.
Mr. Schmidt, you sure you want me to do this to your friend?
Um,
You sure you want me to do this to your friend?
yes.
Be my pleasure, sir. You're walking by the bar that you don't know on a date that you don't remember in a year that perhaps you remember, and tell me what you believe you have that is germane to this case.
Well, I had heard her and her friends laughing about how his tires had been popped.
Yes?
Yeah, so I assumed she had something to do with it.
Oh, well, then you assume. Good. Do you have anything else that's germane to this case?
I did pick him up for work, too, a couple times.
I don't care about that. Sit down. You have anything else on the tire slashing, sir?
I just have a copy of, actually, no, I do not have
Good.
this on me.
Thank you very much. Your counterclaim is dismissed. You owe $5,000, and we will prepare an order for the remainder of the $1,600 to be deducted automatically from your check. Forward that to your employer with my love and hugs and kisses. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I hope we have a friendship for my daughter's sake.
I do not know. Hopefully it gets better in time.
Just be a man. Take responsibility for his actions.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of London versus Bell. Step forward.
25-year-old Aaron London is suing his former co-worker, Corey Bell, for defaming his character at work. Aaron claims Corey passed around a phony Craigslist ad.
Mr. London, did you and the defendant work in the same company?
Yes, at one point we did.
This is your complaint. You put an ad in Craigslist. I gather you went to school to become a massage therapist?
Yes.
And you put an ad on Craigslist for massages with your picture on it. Does it have your picture?
Yes.
Mr. Bell saw that ad on Craigslist. Is that right, sir?
I did.
And he thought it was really funny that you had posted that ad on Craigslist. So far, am I right?
Yes.
So he circulated it around the office. He sent it to a lot of other people. He thought it was funny, like people send jokes on the computer, and he sent it to a whole lot of other people. So you're suing him for defamation because you were very embarrassed.
Yes.
That's what this is all about. Mr. London, can I see the ad, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So this says, hello, ladies. Imagine casting your eyes upon this gorgeous whatever. It's got pictures of you, right? And it says, massage for big, beautiful women. Reply to personals, it looks like a number at Craigslist.org. And when people reply to this personal, they get you. Is that right?
Well, they get transferred to an email, yeah.
But it's you.
No, not in this particular case. There's a little bit more to the story that hasn't been revealed yet.
Sir, all I want to know
Yes.
is, it comes back to you.
Yes.
Now, is this the same ad that you sent to other people?
Yes.
You didn't modify it in any way?
No, didn't modify
You didn't
it.
change it, you didn't add words,
No,
you didn't...
no, I didn't. I just sent the link.
You sent the link and you said, take a look at this.
That's it.
That's not a crime, Mr. London. That's not a crime. That's not a lawsuit.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to it.
Well,
though.
give me 30 seconds, sir. That's what happened. You put this
Well-
ad that you didn't want to be circulated among your
No.
office mates. He circulated it among your office mates. If you didn't want it out there, you shouldn't have printed it.
Well, no, that actually isn't what happened. What happened is I work for the bank, and I also have a personal training and massage therapy business, like you said. And another kind of job, side hustle that I do is I write personal ads for Craigslist. Also ads for businesses, whoever needs advertising.
Very nice.
who
I'm
lacks-
not an advertisement for you, sir. So you have a lot of businesses. You
And-
put this on Craigslist.
Yes, technically speaking.
That's what
But
we're here for.
That ad wasn't for me.
Who cares
I
who it
wrote
was
the ad
for?
for somebody else. This
Who cares who it was for? Who cares? He doesn't know that. All he knows is this is the ad that he saw on Craigslist. He had every right to send it to whoever he wanted to send it to.
to my workplace. Well, he doesn't work in the workplace anymore.
I don't care. He could have sent it to the King of Siam. He could have sent it to me. He could have sent it to the President of the United States. He could have sent it to the Vice President of the United States or the Secretary of the Interior. It doesn't make any difference. It's out there in cyberspace. It's open. That's what it is. It's like sending an open letter.
To send it to my job for what? For
Who
laughs?
cares? If you don't want to be embarrassed, you don't put embarrassing things on the internet, Mr. London. If you don't want to be embarrassed, keep your private thoughts to yourself.
But the ad is not mine, is what I'm trying to tell you. Can I actually tell you?
Listen, Mr. London, I understand the nonsense what you wrote in your complaint. You said you were doing an ad for somebody else, and this was just a sample of what the ad would look like. But Mr. Bell doesn't know that because you posted this on Craigslist.
But how does he know I posted it?
It doesn't make any difference whether he knows you posted it or not, sir. It's here. It's out there in the world. Just like he sees it, anybody else can see it. He can send it to whomever he wants to send it. The truth of the matter is, you did post it on Craigslist. Now, did somebody tie you down and take these pictures?
No, those are sample pictures.
Those are pictures that
The
you...
pictures don't even match the ad, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh,
it's
yes,
not
they
even...
do. Oh, yeah, listen, Mr. London, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, sir. This may have aggravated you. It may have upset you. It's a very good lesson. If you want to think privately, you go, I want to take it all in, and this is what I want to do. I want to keep these thoughts to myself. If you want to give massages to big, beautiful women, and that's what you're thinking about, and I'm going to see it, but I'm not going to write it in a letter to my mother or my sister or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. I'm going to keep it to myself. Once you type it in the machine and you write send, it's over. It's out there. It's in Mexico and Burma and Jersey and Brooklyn. It's all over the place. And you can't complain about it if somebody says, this is really funny. I want to send it to everybody that I know who knows this jerk who posted this on Craigslist. So, Mr. London, grow up. You want to keep things to yourself? You want to talk into your pillow. Don't talk into your computer. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We were great friends. I mean, he sat on my couch. He got drunk with me. You know, we hung out together.
Well, it's not necessarily what was posted. It was the intent behind it.
If it was me, my friends would have sent out the same. I would have been embarrassed. Oh, okay, I got busted. I got caught. That's it. He got caught with his pants down.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Powell versus Rust. Step forward, please.
25-year-old Brenda Powell is suing her ex-roommate, Angela Rust, for breaching their rental agreement.
Thank you, Bird.
You're welcome, Judge.
Don't get comfy.
You're not going to be here long?
No.
Okay.
Miss Powell, this used to be your roommate.
Correct.
How long did you share an apartment together?
It was a period of about 5 months, but it was supposed to have been 13.
And then, according to your complaint, owing to problems that were generated by the defendant, you had to move.
I had no choice, yes.
And you moved into another apartment, and the rent on that apartment was more than your half of the rent on the apartment that you shared together. So you want her to pay the difference on your one-bedroom apartment that you have to pay now because she wasn't a good roommate.
Correct.
Good. That's not a case. So, sorry to tell you, we don't do cases like that because it's ridiculous. If you wanted to move back with your mother, you could have done that. Who are you?
Her friend, Natalie.
Natalie, do you have an apartment?
I do.
You could have moved in with Natalie.
No.
In any event, there is no cause of action for paying the difference between the roommate's half and your apartment now. Do you understand? There's no cause of action for that.
Yes, there is. I was forced to move into the one bedroom. My only other option was to break the lease and pay $7,500.
Well, then maybe you should have. Then maybe you should have done. I'm speaking. Then maybe you should have done that, and then you might have had a cause of action.
But I wouldn't have had a place to live.
But you don't have a cause of action by moving into a one bedroom and asking her to pay the difference. That doesn't happen.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 520 on the calendar in the matter of Fennell versus Young.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, huh?
Miss Fennell, you and Mr. Young had a relationship and you have 2 children.
Yes, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, the 2 of you separated sometime in 2004.
Yes, Your Honor.
At that time, there were 2 vehicles in your household.
Yes, ma'am.
You kept one, and according to you, continued to make the payments on it, made all the payments on it, and Mr. Young kept one. It is your claim that Mr. Young took your vehicle without your permission 2 years later.
Yes, ma'am.
And in the vehicle was some personal property of yours.
Yes.
You managed to get the vehicle back with the help of the authorities. The property was missing. You want the value of the property, or the property. Mr. Young says that when you separated in 2004, he allowed you to borrow his truck because you needed a vehicle. He expected you to return it to him at some point when you were able to afford to get your own vehicle. You didn't do that, but instead, according to Mr. Young, sometime in 2005, you left your home, or the jurisdiction where you were living, without notifying him in advance, and took the children and the truck to a different state. He was able to locate you, he retrieved his truck, and he is counterclaiming because he says that when you took the truck back, you did so against his wishes, that the truck actually belongs to him and he wants it back.
Correct.
Okay. When in 2004 did you separate, Ms. Fennell?
January, Your Honor.
And it was an amicable separation?
No, ma'am.
Did you leave him or did he leave you?
I left him, Your Honor.
And where were you living at the time? In what state?
Missouri.
And you maintained a home together with the defendant in Missouri?
Yes, Your Honor.
For how long?
2 years, approximately.
How old were you?
3 years.
We actually purchased a house back in 2001.
Just a second. You purchased a house together in 2001?
No, ma'am.
I purchased a house in my name solely, and in 2001.
And you lived there with him?
Yes, ma'am.
So you lived there with him for 3 years?
Yes.
Now, you left him, and when you left him, you took one of the trucks. Now, in whose name was the truck that you took?
Both of ours.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you left him a truck when you left?
No, I loaned her the truck, okay?
You had what?
I had the car.
You had the car. What kind of car did you have?
It was a 95 Ford Aspire.
Now, when you left in 2004, you remained in Missouri until when?
February of 2005, Your Honor.
And where did you go in February of 2005?
Kansas.
Who lives in Kansas?
My fiance.
Between January of 2004 and February of 2005, Mr. Young, did you see your children?
Yes, I did. I seen them all the way up until April.
April of?
2004. Or
2005.
2005.
Shh. Well, if she moved in February of 2005, where did you see them in April? In Kansas?
Actually, she met me 3 times, I do believe, with my kids when I'd get off work. And I'd actually pick them up and take them to my place after that.
So you did see them in April of 2005 after she moved to Kansas?
Actually, yes, I did.
Just answer the question.
Yes, I did.
I'm trying to get a timeline from you, sir. I read your answer. I'm trying to figure out what happened. So, when she moved, you continued to see the children?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
So you knew she was moving? Answer. Don't think about what you wrote.
No.
Don't think about how it's going to look. Just answer, Mr. Young, the questions, because if you give me a dishonest answer, I guarantee you it's going to be a very sorry afternoon for you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand that.
So, if you saw the children up until April of 2005, then you knew she was moving.
Actually, I did not.
I don't want you to speak until I ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I understand, Your Honor.
Perfect. Go ahead.
I actually did not know that she moved because, like I said, she would meet me right around the surroundings of where I worked.
You mean between January of 2004 when she left, when you separated, and April of 2000, listen to my question,
Okay.
Don't get the wheels moving. Between January of 2004 when she left and April of 2005, the routine was you would meet at some central location and exchange the children.
Correct.
So you didn't know that she moved to Kansas because she brought the children to the same location all the time?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Don't say yes unless it's true.
Yes.
When did you find out that she moved to Kansas?
In the end of April.
How did you find out?
I would call her cell phone to get my kids, and she answered one day and said that I wasn't going to see the kids no more.
Really?
Really.
Why did you say that, Miss Fennell?
I didn't, Your Honor.
What did you say? If he was seeing the children from January of 2004 until April of 2005, and I believe him, something happened in April of 2005.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you tell me what it was?
He was seeing the children sporadically, once every 2 or 3 months, and I actually called him in April.
No, don't speak now.
And, at Easter, before Easter, and asked him if he would like to see the children. At that time, he told me no. My fiance and I went and bought the children Easter baskets, and when Mr. Young called me the day before Easter and told me that, yes, he did want to have the kids, and I said, okay, that's fine. And he did. And then, as usual, I called him the next weekend, and the next weekend, and the next weekend, and asked him if he would be using his visitation, and he would tell me, no, he was working, and he didn't have time.
Don't put your hands up.
Then in June, on Father's Day, I called Mr. Young once again and asked him if he would like to have his children on Father's Day. And he made the comment to me, well, it's Father's Day, isn't that my day off? And I said, look.
So are you telling me between April, Easter, when he had the children for the day?
Yes, ma'am.
And Father's Day?
No contact, Your Honor.
He did not call the children?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Did you call your children between April, Easter, when you had the children? Because I believe her that she gave you the children on Easter and Father's Day. Did you contact your children?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Tell me how.
I tried to contact her through a cell phone.
What do you mean you tried?
I would call her, and she either wouldn't answer my call, and eventually she'd shut her phone off completely.
I'm talking about between April and June.
No, I never did get to see my kids in that time because she was holding them from me.
Did you go to court, sir, between April and June, like May 1st, for visitation?
We actually had a court order on visitations of the kids March 1st of 04 until March 1st of 05. It was just a one-year visitation deal.
I never heard of a one-year visitation deal.
It only lasted 1 year because it was the result of an abuse stalking order that I had against Mr. Young.
I see. So there was an order of visitation that was made part of a protective order.
Yes, ma'am.
But there was no formal order of visitation other than that which was contained
That's
in the
correct,
protective order, which expired in March.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So I'm coming back to you, Mr. Young. When you didn't see your children in May, and according to you, you couldn't reach their mother, did you go to court to seek visitation with your children?
No, I could not.
Why not?
Because I couldn't afford an attorney.
You don't need an attorney to go to court, Mr. Young. You go to your local family court and you tell the clerk, I want to file an order of visitation for my children. Question is, did you go to court? The answer is no.
No.
If the father is interested in seeing their children regularly, they go to court. That's what they do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Put your hand down, Miss Fiancée. You have nothing to say.
I'm his wife, Your Honor.
Put your hand down, Miss Wife. You have nothing to say.
Tricia Fennell claims the father of her children, Chad Young, refuses to sign over a Dodge Ram truck. Chad is countersuing for the return of the truck.
Is this your fiancée wife?
Yes, it is.
What is it?
It's my wife.
Your wife? When were you married?
July 29th of this year.
Did you buy her an engagement ring?
What's that?
Did you buy her an engagement ring?
Yes, I did.
How much you spent for it?
Like $300.
Have you been to court since, sir,
No.
to file for visitation with your children?
No.
Well, before I'd buy an engagement ring, Mr. Young, if you need the advice of a lawyer, I would spend $300 an hour for a lawyer and get some advice to file for visitation for my children. Mr.
See,
Young.
I have
Mr. Young, that's what I would do.
Everybody I've talked to has told me that I had to hire an attorney to have anything else done.
Who told you that? The butcher?
Child support?
No, let me ask you. The butcher?
No.
Courts cannot, sir, require you to have an attorney in order to see your children. It might be easier for you, but it would certainly be worth an hour of a lawyer's time.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
Good, so I would have saved the $300 on an engagement ring and gone to see a lawyer if I didn't see my children. So my sympathy for you was getting to be this much, where it was this much when I read your answer. You understand me?
Yes.
When I read your answer, it appeared as if she removed the children. You didn't see the children after that, but that's not true. You did see the children. She moved in February. You saw the children in February and March and April. She continued to bring them to a location so that you could see them, take them for visitation, until your life got a little busy. How much child support have you paid for your children in the last 2 years? Is not an answer.
I have not paid in the last year for some
In the
reason.
last
I don't know.
year?
Usually it comes out of my check, and they quit taking it out of my check.
Well, just a second. What? Shut up! What'd you think the children were eating from the last year?
What do you mean?
I don't know. So my sympathy for you is that much. Now, at some point, sir, you took this truck back that was in joint names.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because she posted a deal on the internet saying that she was, I guess she was, had a chance to forge my signature on the title.
You didn't need the truck. You'd been without it for well over a year. It was in joint names. You had a car, she had a truck. You'd lived together for a long time. So, what's the big deal?
Because I've paid almost everything on that truck.
Well, show me. Show me that you've paid almost everything on the truck. Let me see. And at the same time, Ms. Fennell, I'd like you to show me that you paid whatever you paid on the truck.
Your Honor, this is a statement from the bank saying that the loan was in solely my name. These are the payments that I made. This is my payoff date there at the bottom. This is saying that I paid the taxes on the vehicle.
I don't care taxes. Don't tell me taxes. Not interested in taxes.
I have a receipt from the bank here for my final payment.
Well, just a second. How did you pay them?
I went to the bank and asked them if I could get that proof, and they said because it had been so long that they could do that, but they would have to charge me $30 per hour for their manpower in it. And this is also the payment book, Your Honor, that I have to take to the bank and get initialed every payment that was made.
Just a second. Take this back, because I have absolutely no interest in this piece of whatever it is, because it's not evidence. It's nonsense.
You got anything?
The only thing that I have is I ain't got no proof of how the truck got paid.
You don't have any proof?
No, all I got is...
Look at me. You don't have any proof.
I mean, besides my pay, how much I was making back then.
I don't care what you were making back then.
Because I asked the bank the same thing also, and that's what they told me.
Okay. Mr. Young, now I have a document that indicates that these payments were made starting in January of '04 through February of '05. Now, I would like you to show me proof that you made payments, sir.
Like I said, I couldn't get the documents from my bank because they couldn't go back that far. Because I tried getting a printout of, like, my whole checking account back then, and they don't have that on.
This looks as if after she took the truck, she made the payments.
Right. That was...
Listen to me. After she took the truck, she made the payments. Put your hand down, Miss Fiancée. You have nothing to say.
And his wife, Your Honor.
Put your hand down, Miss Wife. You have nothing to say.
I also have evidence that Mr. Young signed his name off of the title of my truck and a notarized gift affidavit from Mr. Young that he did at the bank, Your Honor.
Let me see the notarized. I just want to see the notarized document from him.
Your Honor, that I don't... That's...
This was made while...
That is a false document.
So you're accusing the notary here of a felony. Is that right, Mr. Young?
Yes, I am.
Just listen to me.
Yes, I am.
Just a minute. I just want to make sure, because I want to tell you something. By saying that, Mr. Young, if what you're saying is not true, and you are accusing in front of 10 million people, put down your papers! And you are accusing the notary public who put her commission seal on this document of committing a felony, I want to tell you that you are exposing yourself to substantial liability. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And understanding that is what you're telling me, that the person who subscribed their seal to this document, which purportedly took your signature on a gift affidavit, committed perjury. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Young?
I've got the actual...
That would be a big
Yes, I've
mistake.
actually been talking to an attorney from...
Just a second. You've actually been talking to an attorney about what, sir? No.
About this forgery.
You've actually...
Yes.
Just a second. Where did you get an attorney to talk to about the forgery? On a 10-year-old truck, you've been talking to a lawyer about the forgery?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
Did you have to pay the lawyer?
No.
No. When you happen to have been there talking to the lawyer about your truck and the forgery, did you happen to ask the lawyer about visitation with your children?
Yes, I sure did.
Really? You finally got there. Now, the reason you went to see the lawyer, and by the way, when did you go to see the lawyer?
It was about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. And when was the last time you saw your children?
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So let's see what happened. You bought your wife an engagement ring, and she looks like she's well cared for. And you didn't get to see a lawyer until 3 weeks ago, Mr. Young.
No, I've actually spoke to many lawyers when she did leave.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Well, that's a revelation, sir. You didn't tell me that before. Tell me when you spoke to a lawyer the first time about visitation.
The first time that she told me that she didn't want the kids in my life no more.
And when was that?
It was right after April in 2005. And that's
so interesting, Mr. Young. You told me that people told you that you needed a lawyer to go to court. Why didn't you go to court?
Because nobody told me any different. They always said that, or they all told me that I needed to go hire an attorney because there had been a paternity action done.
Okay, I got the drift of who everybody is. I got it. All comes together. Now, what items do you allege were in the truck when he took the truck? Because he went and took the truck and you ultimately got it
He's
back.
actually returned all of my items with the exception of one child's Game Boy.
One child's Game Boy? So
Yes.
what do you want? What do you want?
Actually, those were put in the paperwork before I maintained possession of the truck and my property again. So that's...
Okay, so you're withdrawing your claim?
Yes, ma'am.
You're
For the
withdrawing your
possessions.
claim?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So now all we have is a counterclaim.
Right.
All we have is a counterclaim. What do you want, sir?
I want her to sign her name off the title.
That's not going to happen because she paid for it. So she's not signing her name off the title. So you and your wife are just going to have to get along with your car.
Did she pay $16,000 for that truck?
I want to tell you something. You came here for judgment, and my judgment is that the affidavit of gift that she has signed and notarized is an affidavit that I'm prepared to accept, and that you made a gift to her of this truck, and that subsequent to your separation, she made the payments on it, and she brought the children to visit you with the children in your truck, and but for the fact that maybe you're being prodded by Miss Wife over here, we wouldn't be here today on your counterclaim. You get me? Do you get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Your counterclaim is dismissed. I would suggest that if you want to see your children, you pursue that with an attorney as viciously as you've pursued getting back this 10-year-old truck. Anybody can be a father, sir, because it's very easy to make a baby. Put your hand down. What do you want him to do, sign that?
I would like him to sign the title.
Absolutely. Bird, he's going to sign that document. Tell him where to put his X.
And, ma'am, I also have charges. Sorry.
Once you sign that, Mr. Young, I will be finished with you.
Your signature of seller. Right there.
Now, as far as the Game Boy is concerned, or any of the nonsense that was in your truck?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
There are
What?
other things. We had to have the ignition replaced because we didn't have a key. There's damage to the truck when I got it back.
Get over it.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. You have your truck.
Yes, ma'am.
You have your responsibilities. You live up to your responsibilities, and you'll get a little more sympathy from a court. That's all. Step out.
Party judge excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 561 on the calendar in the matter of Paust versus Cabradilla Sarbacher. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
What's your last name?
Sarbacher?
This is your fiancé.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes. Correct.
Why don't you sit down?
Okay.
This used to be your husband.
Yes, ma'am.
You have children together?
One child.
How old?
She'll be 6 in June.
Do you see her?
Once in a while.
How long is once in a while? Once a week, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks?
Once every other weekend and twice a week.
Good. You support her?
Yeah.
Send support?
Yes.
Does he send some support?
No, ma'am. Actually, he has a contempt order against him next month because he hasn't paid his child support since May of last year.
Which I have paid with our tax return, your ma'am.
Well, you're not supposed to let it go. You're supposed to pay every week. That's when a child eats. Daily.
Yes. There's been a recent hardship in our family.
Like what?
A new child.
That's not a
moving,
hardship.
And moving.
That's not a hardship.
Okay.
A new child is not a hardship. You take on the responsibility of a new child, understanding that you have a prior responsibility to other children that you made. Sir.
Yes.
So that's not a hardship. Hardship is when somebody has a terminal illness and you have to spend money on that. That's a hardship. New child in a move is not a hardship. Should have paid your child support. There's no excuse for not paying your child support. This is my problem with your case, which I'll explain to Bird because I know he's fascinated. You two have been divorced for how long?
3 years.
When Mr. Paust left, he left an old trunk. The trunk belonged to his grandfather, World War II trunk. He didn't take it with him. He left it on the porch. So she kept the trunk. They're divorced. Nobody's asking for the trunk. Nothing. All of a sudden, they have a new baby, and they think it's really nice thing if they redid this trunk for the new baby. So he says to her, I want the trunk back. Where's the trunk? She says, I gave it to my fiancé. That's why I told him to sit down, because he's irrelevant to this whole process. You live with him?
I do now.
So the trunk is in your house?
At this time, yes.
Right.
When I gave it to him, he wasn't living.
I don't care.
Okay.
So the question is, does he have any claim over this trunk that he abandoned 3 years ago? Are you going to explain to me, sir, why you believe you have a claim to this trunk that clearly you left 3 years ago?
Actually, I didn't abandon it. I took all my belongings over to my father's house, and I thought that was in there with it. And apparently it wasn't. Ms. Cabardillo stated that she had it. She would clean it out and return it to me.
When?
And this was about a month ago.
Just a second. I'm not talking about a month ago. I'm talking about 3 years ago that you moved and you didn't have it with you. So evidently you didn't have any need for it for 3 years.
Correct.
And when you started looking for it, you said, where could it be?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
What?
It was actually almost 5 years ago. It was 2002. And yes, all of his stuff was on the porch. He took what he wanted and left the rest for me to
So
clean
it was
up.
2002, so it was 5 years ago.
Correct. Correct. And
Listen,
just recently...
That was our separation.
Grow up.
And just recently...
Grow up.
It wasn't him
If
asking...
she had thrown it in the garbage...
I would have taken that as an answer.
Well, she didn't throw it in the garbage, and she's not happy with you because you had all these emergencies in your life when you weren't paying child support.
She stated she'd clean it out and return it to me. That was my assumption.
Well, that was a month ago. She changed her mind.
And actually, that's...
Shh. She changed her mind a month ago. Now, let me just tell you this. This trunk has no sentimental value for you.
That's correct, ma'am.
It has some sentimental value for him. And you do have a child together. So what I'm saying to you is, it would be a nice thing, and I don't care about the fiancé. I find him, in this whole case, totally irrelevant, which is why I told him to sit down. Because if he was to say to me, she gave me the trunk and he's not getting it back because it was made to me as a gift, and I don't care what happens, whether it creates friction between them, whether the child's going to suffer or anything else, I want my trunk, I would have no use for him. Now, I've spoken to you for a relatively short period of time. You look like a nice lady, and you sound like a nice lady. And I don't think that you would pick a guy who was so nasty. So I don't even want to hear from him. It all has to do with the two of you. I would never award him this trunk because he abandoned it 5 years ago. All I'm saying to you is, like it or not, you married him, you had a child with him.
Can I say something about that, Your Honor?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm not finished. So if you want to keep things peaceful, and since you have no sentimental value attached to this trunk, I think you should give it back to him. But that's just my opinion as a human being, not as a judge. Because my opinion as a judge is he abandoned the property 5 years ago and he can't all of a sudden have an awakening like Rip Van Winkle. Now you can say what you want to say.
I do agree with that, but on the other note, her using this trunk as a vendetta against me to basically not see my child and out of jealousy to not pay my child support. They're moving to Colorado come in August, and I won't be able to see my daughter, and I think some of this stipulates from that.
Just a second. Did you give him permission to move?
No, I didn't.
Go to court.
I did, and I'm going to trial pretty soon for that.
Fine. Good. That's what you should do. Because if you've been seeing your child regularly, there is no basis for a move unless somebody has a health reason or something. And the fact that fiancé may have a job someplace else is irrelevant. That's if I were a family court judge hearing your case. If, however, you have not seen that child regularly, when I say regularly, every time you're supposed to, unless you're sick or something, and if you have not paid your child support because you've moved on with another family, then I would say, go, be happy, and you want to see your daughter? Take a plane and go.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Would you have said either of the two stupid things that he just said?
Probably not.
Because they sounded
silly.
And you don't want to be with a silly man, do you?
And later today.
This is your mom?
Yes.
So glad that you brought them. You know why I'm glad that you brought them, Miss Jackson? Why is that? Because he actually thought that he was going to be able to fool me. Whether they're using the trunk as a vendetta or not has nothing to do with the fact, sir, that you abandoned it 5 years ago.
Okay.
Would I give it back to him? Probably. What do you want?
I just wanted to state the trunk is not used. We would have got rid of it.
Just a second. Don't talk to me sitting down.
I apologize. No, I said the reason it's been kept and not thrown away is because it is Susan's baby items that are kept in the trunk, and that's just the safe place to keep it. We don't want to take them out and get them damaged, and so that's why.
Get a plastic container and put the stuff in plastic containers. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. I'm talking about keeping a mother and a father of a child not at odds with each other over a piece of property that bears no sentimental value to you, giving it back to him, so you say, removing this irritant. And you're talking to me about storing baby clothes? Sit down.
All right. Well, I did offer to sell it to him if he wanted it.
He's not a genius. I wouldn't follow him across the country.
It's actually my job.
Listen to me. Is it your job?
Right.
I wouldn't take him with me. There's something not clever about him. He doesn't get. I know that you get what I just said to you. Would you have said either of the two stupid things that he just said? That you're using it for storage is one, and that you don't want the stuff destroyed so that you can't put it anyplace else. And two, that he offered to sell it. So he clearly wasn't listening to what I said. Would you have said either one of those stupid things?
Well, it was to...
No. Would you have said to me in court?
Probably not.
And you wouldn't have said them in court because they sounded...
Silly.
Silly. Right.
Sorry.
Right. And you don't want to be with a silly man, do you? You already picked one guy who's not too swift. You want to pick a second one? I would think twice about it. In any event, I'm not awarding you the trunk, sir, because you're not entitled to it. You abandoned it. I will, however, say to your ex-wife that if I were her, I would say, you know what? I'm going to have to be attached to him for the next 12 years at least while my child is a minor. Give him back the trunk. Remove this piece of stuff that's in our lives, and we're going to move on. Where are you supposed to move to?
Colorado Springs.
You have any family there?
Friends.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The divorce decree stated it was mine. He abandoned it 5 years ago.
That's my grandfather's. He had it from World War II, and basically that's why I wanted it back. Sentimental mostly.
We would have liked it back because it is sentimental value.
It's actually Greg's trunk. I gave it to him before we were even seriously dating.
They want it that bad that they can come up with $100.
I'll try and come up with it just to see what happens.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Paradeza versus McQuay Jackson, step forward, please.
18-year-old Jenny Paradeza is suing schoolmates Samuel and Stephen McQuay and their mother, Evelyn Jackson. Jenny claims the boys stole her school backpack.
You can sit down.
Thank you.
Ms. Paradeza,
Yes, Your Honor.
you're a high school student?
Yes, that's correct.
According to your complaint, you had some trouble with your car one day in school, and security guard was helping you out, getting it started, and you put your book bag and your valuables down on the ground.
Yeah.
And your property was stolen. And it is your claim that the defendants and others were responsible for taking your property, and you want the value of the property that was taken and a little bit extra to punish them.
Correct.
The defendants, while they acknowledge that they were there, say that they didn't take the property and they're not responsible. When was your property taken?
It was October 3rd.
And it was at the school?
It was during lunch.
And where had you left your book bag?
It was on the sidewalk in our parking lot.
Why didn't you take the book bag and put it in your car?
Well, after I figured out that my car wasn't starting, I panicked, so I put my stuff on the floor. I wasn't even
Well, I
thinking
understand
about
that
the
you put your stuff on the floor. It would have been smarter to take your stuff instead of putting it on the floor,
Yeah,
putting it in your car,
Mhm.
right? Okay. Now, when did you find that it was missing?
After I turned off my engine, I went back and looked on the sidewalk, and it wasn't there.
But
And
now
then-
what makes you believe that these two young men had anything to do with taking
Well,
your bag?
After I had told the security guard that my stuff was stolen, they took me back to their office, and we went over the surveillance cameras that are in the parking lot, and it showed my backpack on the floor, and then it showed that after the boys had passed my backpack, it was gone.
And these two boys were in that group.
Yes, they were.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Gentlemen,
Yes, ma'am.
what's your name?
Sam McQuay, Jr., Stephen McQuay.
Brothers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Better. Who was with you that day when you passed this backpack?
My friend Jonte and Antoine and Eric.
Who took the bag?
My friend Antoine.
And what did he do with the bag after he took it?
He ran to the second floor to the bathroom
How do you know that?
because I was right outside the bathroom when he took it.
Who else was outside the bathroom door?
Me and my brother.
So you were looking out.
No.
You were the
no, Your Honor.
lookouts?
No.
How big is the school? How big is the school?
Big.
How many floors?
3.
And how many rooms on each floor?
Don't know.
How many kids go to the school?
Don't know.
More than 500?
Yes, Your Honor.
So there are lots of classrooms. So you mean it's just coincidental that after Antoine took the bag and went to the bathroom, you happened to be standing outside the same bathroom?
I was with him when he took the backpack, then we went to the second floor together.
We? Good. We took the backpack. He physically had the backpack, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But the word that you used was we. We took the backpack. Isn't that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
This is your mom?
Yes.
So glad that you brought them. You know why I'm glad that you brought them, Miss Jackson?
Why is that?
Because he actually thought that he was going to be able to fool me. He actually did.
No, I didn't, actually.
Well, I read your answer, and your answer said you didn't have anything to do with this.
I didn't. I was with my friends at the time.
No, you just said to me, we took the backpack, and then we went to the second floor. You and your brother stood outside the bathroom door, acting, now I'm going to use the word, because you didn't, look out. Now, in a school where there are probably 1,000 students, 3 floors, the fact that you serendipitously wound up standing outside the bathroom door while your friend Antoine and Jonte were inside going through the backpack is something that I don't buy. It wasn't an accident that you were outside the bathroom making sure nobody was coming in while they were rummaging through her backpack. It was an on purpose. So it doesn't make any difference who it was that actually had their hand on the backpack. You were all involved in taking it and making sure that the rightful owner didn't get it back. That's what it means when you act as a lookout.
We weren't a lookout, Your Honor. We were talking to some friends. We weren't looking out. We didn't have
Just talking to some friends outside the same bathroom where Antoine was going through the backpack.
because that's where they were.
Just listen to my statement, sir. Just coincidentally, you went from the street where Antoine took the backpack, followed him to the bathroom. He went into the bathroom to check out the backpack. And you were standing outside talking to some friends. It would seem to me if you had nothing to do with this taking of the backpack, you would want to get as far away from Antoine as possible.
And that's exactly why we went to the gym.
No, your brother just told me you were standing outside the bathroom.
After we were standing at the bathroom for a minute, we went to the gym. And then they left out and went to the lunchroom.
How do you know they left and went to the lunchroom?
Because we seen them that day, after that day.
No. Let's see what you say here. Let's see what you say here. Sam. Who's Sam?
That's me.
That would be you. I followed the guys all the way up to the second floor hallway. The other kids took the bag in the bathroom. My brother and I stayed in the hall near the bathroom only because we ran into a friend. The kids came out of the bathroom with an identification card and the backpack and threw it in the trash. No one had any money. That's not, we just stayed there and then we went out and we didn't see them come out of the bathroom. We just found out about it in the lunchroom. You say, Sam, that you saw them come out of the bathroom with an identification card and the backpack and threw it in the trash. Were you lying here?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little different story than you just told me, young man. You think you're smarter than I am? Never in your life. Never in your life. If you live to be 104, will you be smarter than I am this day?
I will. Maybe so, Your Honor.
You will?
Yeah, maybe so.
Never happen. Never.
How would you know?
Because you're there and I'm here. That's how I know.
That's what you think.
That's how. Because you're there and I'm here. That's because in 5 minutes I was able to catch you so far in 2 lies. Not 1, but 2.
Tell me those 2 lies.
Listen, it's not my job to tell you. I'll give you a copy of the tape, sir. You can go home and watch it yourself. Then you can kick yourself in the behind with your own foot. You're responsible, just as if you took the backpack.
Okay.
You are responsible for standing outside that bathroom and acting as a lookout while your friends rummaged through it. And if they had come up with a whole bunch of money, they would have given you some of it.
The point is, Your Honor, we didn't take nothing.
I'm not speaking to you. Close your mouth until I talk to you. How much was your backpack worth?
Well, everything that was stolen was about $750.
Like what? Give me what was stolen.
My wallet.
What was in your wallet?
It was $50.
Okay.
I had to replace all my IDs. I had gift cards in there, my earpiece, and a calculator.
There was no earpiece in there, ma'am.
I love it. I love it. Judging for the plaintiff for the amount of $500. That's what I think it's worth, madam. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Yeah, this is case number 545 on the calendar in the matter of Molina versus Olivares.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Molina, this young man used to be your boyfriend. I assume he lived with you for a period of time. Is that right?
He didn't live with me. He would stay over once in a while.
How often is once in a while, Miss Molina?
Often.
Often. And it is your claim that at the time that you were breaking up, you got into an argument and he dented your car. You want to have the car fixed.
Correct.
Mr. Olivares says he fixed it. May not be to your liking, but he had it fixed. On what date did you have this argument, Miss Molina?
July 6th of 2006. He actually called me to work, one of our many arguments, and I went ahead and ended up the relationship again, and he constantly called me back at work and my cell phone and wanting to go pick up a couple of his things from my house.
Where he stayed over occasionally.
Correct. And I asked him that we can be civil. I was at work. I still had 2 more hours to, to be at work. So if he could just meet me afterwards and we would be civil about it and just take his things and go our separate ways.
Is that what the conversation was like, Mr. Olivares?
Yeah, it was short. So
Good.
Okay.
Yes is an answer. Okay. You went to the house, according to what I read, when she wasn't home. Who was home?
Her kids.
How old are her children?
9, 8, and a babysitter. The babysitter's
So 2 little children and a babysitter. And what happened when you got there, Mr. Olivares?
I just went in to get my stuff.
Look at me. I know what you wanted. What did you do when you got there?
I went straight to get my stuff.
How did you get into the house, sir?
There's a window. It's always open.
First, you knocked at the door.
Well, yeah.
Listen, we're not going to play with each other, sir. Because I guarantee you, no matter what you ate this morning, no matter what kind of good protein breakfast you ate this morning, I'm sharper than you are.
Okay.
So first you went to the house, and the first thing you did was not go in a window, because that's what most people wouldn't do. Most people would first knock at the door, right?
Right.
Which is what you did.
Right.
And what happened when you knocked at the door?
Nobody opened the door, so I went to the window and I went in there.
Now, did you knock at the door once or more than once?
It was more than once. I knocked very often.
So you must have figured out that somebody in the house, like the babysitter, didn't want to get involved in this, right?
Right.
So you went through a window.
Yeah.
That was the wrong thing to do, Mr. Olivares. You understand that?
Yeah.
Perfect answer. You saw him leaving?
Yes.
As you were pulling up, I read the papers. Yes. I'm really very good at that, sort of piecing it together, despite the fact that sometimes your papers are not particularly articulate. I did gather that you got home as he was exiting the house and taking off in his car.
Yes.
So you did the dumbest thing that you could have done.
Yes, I did.
Which was?
I followed him to his house. Right. I did.
Because he's a lunatic. He's already leaving. You want to call the police and say he broke into my house through a window? You can do that. Because I'm sure the babysitter called you, right?
Yes.
And the babysitter said, a lunatic is rapping at the door. Shh. Right?
Right.
Which is why you came home. So you followed him to his house, and you are angry.
Angry.
Because he frightened your children.
Yes.
Right? I'm sure he made them cry.
Yes.
Right? Oh, absolutely, Mr. Olivares. Absolutely. If you're outside banging at the door and the babysitter is saying, not answering, and you go into the house, that's very frightening for 2 little children.
No.
It's the wrong thing to have done. Tell me no. I'm not interested in your no. What grade did you graduate?
I went to college.
Good. You know that I did too?
Okay.
Did you graduate from college is the question.
No, I did some college.
You know that I actually graduated.
That's very good. That's good. I admire that.
Good. Now, when you did this foolish thing of following him to the house, what did you do when he stopped the car at his house?
I did park behind him, and I was upset, Your Honor, and I did get in his face.
What did you do when you got in his face?
I was telling him that I was sick and tired of him, doing these things to me all the time.
Did you put your hands on him?
No, I was going to, then he grabbed me.
When you say you were going to, were you going to punch him?
Well, Your Honor, I did feel a little threatened. After we had a confrontation, I got in his face.
Well, you say you got in his face. That means you started the confrontation.
I did because I'm the one that followed him, Your Honor, and I was a stupid
No,
thing
you
to
started
do.
the confrontation when you got out of the car and ran up to him.
Yeah.
And what did she do when she ran up to you, Mr. Oliveras?
She was swinging punches wildly, and I was just trying to dodge the punches, and she hit me one time right here in the back of the head.
Okay. I believe you, Mr. Oliveras. So what did you do, sir?
During the commotion, that's when I hit her car because
Okay.
I was
How many times
trying to get away from her.
No, don't lie. You see, you were almost good.
What?
Shh. Almost. How did you hit her car, sir? With what?
With my legs.
No. Look at me. With your leg. Yeah. So you kicked her car.
Yeah, it was kind of a kick, yeah.
So far, we are understanding each other, Mr. Oliveras. Because I read the papers. I read the baloney that you wrote in the answer.
Mm-hmm.
You kicked her car.
Yeah, kind of.
And you caused some damage. So now let me see the damage. Here we go. You didn't fall into it. She didn't run over your foot. She didn't do any of that stuff, Mr. Oliveras. You see? What a nice smile you have. Well, this is some good kick, Mr. Oliveras. See this? Ooh, couple of good kicks, Mr. Oliveras.
Yeah.
See the kicks?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Anything else you want to tell me, sir? Good. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh.
You were almost home, Mr. Oliveras.
And later today,
I would only allow him to drive it if I was in the car, except for those 2 occasions.
Now, Mr. Oliveras, you saw the pictures, sir. Could I see the pictures of the fixed car? Did he fix it?
No, Your Honor.
What happened, Mr. Oliveras? You told me that you fixed it. You took it to a friend, and the friend fixed it.
It wasn't a friend. I took it to a body shop, and I paid $150 to get it fixed. It's not, it's not the same as it was before, but you could hardly notice.
You have pictures to show me?
No.
Well, Mr. Oliveras.
I thought that was going to be the picture she was going to bring. I thought she was going to bring the pictures after I had already paid $150 to get it fixed.
Do you have the after pictures?
No, Your Honor. He had somebody hammer the dents out, and I take it back to Golden State to say that in order for the car to look like it was before, they still have to replace the same parts.
Absolutely right. Mr. Oliveras, she's entitled to have her car the exact same way as it was before July 6th.
Right.
She's entitled to that.
Okay, the guy I took the car to, he did a very good job. And I was going to take it back so he could finish the job, and make it look exactly as it once was. But I haven't had the chance, and she hasn't taken it either.
Well, she's going to take it now to her own place. She doesn't have to take it to your place. Do you have an estimate?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
And also an estimate of the days that Golden State say I'm going to need a car for the parts and the labor to be completed.
I'm not giving you a rental car for 10 days. You consider the 10 days that you have to rent a car your own penance for doing something stupid and going to follow him to his house.
Okay.
Anything else you want to tell me?
No, Your Honor. Pretty much just want my car fixed.
Anything else you want to tell me, sir? Good. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
You were almost home, Mr. Oliveras.
No, never mind.
Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,881. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That's fine. I can't argue her decision.
Well, I think she was very fair.
I was just trying to recover all my stuff from her house.
Couldn't wait. Obviously, he went through the window and did his thing.
She's just the type of person that likes to sue.
I'm going to go ahead and stay away from people like him.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fairbank versus Pavonsa. Step forward, please.
17-year-old Christina Fairbank and her mother, Janet, are suing Christina's ex-boyfriend, 18-year-old Rich Pavonsa, for crashing their car on 2 occasions and for a loan to go to the prom.
How old are you, Miss Fairbanks?
I'm 17.
This is your mom?
Yes.
And that used to be your boyfriend?
Yes.
How old are you?
18.
You went to high school together?
Yes.
Your complaint, Miss Fairbanks, is that you allowed Mr. Pavonsa. Is that the way you pronounce your name?
Yeah.
Is that close enough?
Yeah,
What's your
close
first
enough.
name?
Rich.
Rich. You allowed Rich to drive your car often, but on 2 occasions, he had accidents with the car.
Yes.
And you want him not only to pay for the damage he did to the car, but the increase in insurance that your mother has to pay on the car for the next 12 months because of the accidents. In addition, you claim that your mother made a small loan to him for some expenses that had to do with the homecoming and the prom.
Yes.
Rich says that it's all your fault that he was in these accidents and that maybe he took $40 from your mother, but he spent so much more than that on homecoming and the prom that it's really ridiculous to even talk about the $40, right?
Yes.
Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Tell me the first time you had an accident with Miss Fairbanks' car.
The first time was when I was going to pick up tickets at my friend's house. Her name's Bethany. And it was during a snowstorm. Then I was turning too fast. Then I slid right into the curve. And that's when I wrecked the car the first time.
Did she give you the car to go to pick up the tickets? Or had you been using it for a while?
I have been using it.
So it was a pretty regular occurrence that you used the car?
Yeah.
I believe that, absolutely. Now, did you know he was using the car?
He only drove the car when she was in the vehicle with him.
That's not true. That's not true.
No, it was true. I would only allow him to drive if I was in the car, except for those 2 occasions.
What happened when you had this accident?
I drove back to my apartment place and parked it there, then called Christina and told her.
What did he tell you, Christina?
He told me that if I took blame for the car, then he would have paid me for it.
So he said to you, why don't you take responsibility for the accident and tell your mother you were driving?
Yes.
Which is lie to your mother?
Yes.
And did you?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you lied to your mother about who was driving the car, I want you to tell me what you told her.
Well, I told...
No, look at me, like I'm your mother.
Mom, what happened was we had some movies due at Dylan's, and so I decided to go and take them back in the very bad ice storm, which I really shouldn't have been doing, but I didn't want to pay a late fee on them. And as I was coming back to the apartment, I slid on a patch of ice and hit one of the rails at the apartment with my wheel, and it bent the axle into the wheel well.
You remember her telling you that story?
Yes, I do.
Did you believe her?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
No, because she was scared to drive on the ice.
Just a second. So what did you say to her?
I asked her if she was telling me the truth.
Just a second. Okay. You said to her, Christina, are you telling me the truth?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She said yes.
And you said what?
That I really didn't believe her.
But she stuck with the story.
Yes.
Just like she's sticking with the story that the only 2 times she let him drive the car without her in the car was when he had accidents.
The car was always at my house.
I don't always. Not these 2 times it wasn't.
Just during the day.
Miss Fairbanks.
Possibly.
Miss Fairbanks, don't play with me.
I'm
just
not,
telling you
ma'am.
that your daughter's a fibber and that you believed her. That's all. I'm not minimizing what he did. He had the accident. Now, whose idea was it to say that she was driving? Don't look over there.
Okay.
Look over here.
That was my idea.
Your idea?
Yeah.
Now, why did you want her to lie to your mother, Rich?
So the insurance won't go up for them.
Now, with that in mind, why don't you think you're responsible for paying for that accident?
Because they took the risk of me driving the car because they allowed me to drive the car. That's why.
Now you're becoming irritating. Who was driving the car in an ice storm?
I was.
Who made the bad judgment to go and do a non-essential errand during an ice storm?
I did.
Who misjudged the road?
I did.
So who do you think ought to pay for the damage?
I think I should.
Right! There you go. There you go. Now, how much did it cost to fix that accident?
$348.73.
Okay. Now, Christina, my darling, a week after he had this accident and asked you to come up with this cock and bull story to give your mother and lie to your mother, you let him drive the car again.
Yes, he was supposed to go and get gas.
You let him drive the car
Yes.
again, all by himself. Tell me about what happened this time, Rich.
There was cars turning in from both lanes, and it's a busy street in the morning because of school. And I thought I saw an opening, so I tried to take it, and a Dodge Neon came and hit me.
So you misjudged oncoming traffic.
Yes.
Now, whose fault was that?
Mine again.
So let's go through the drill. Who was driving the car?
I was.
Who misjudged the oncoming traffic?
I did.
Who's responsible for the accident?
I was.
Who should pay for it?
Me.
At least he learns. Now, how much was it for that accident?
I have a deductible, and
How
here's
much?
my $500.
Okay, did you have it fixed?
Yes, I did.
So far, Rich,
Yes.
you owe Mrs. Fairbanks, not her fibbing daughter, but you owe Mrs. Fairbanks $848.73. Now, Christina, do you have a job?
I did.
Now, the next part of your lawsuit, you want him to pay for the increased insurance.
Yes.
He's not going to. You know who's going to pay for the increased insurance? You are. Because you let him drive the car. He's going to pay for the accidents. But your job is to reimburse your mother because it was your poor judgment letting him drive the car, especially the second time, because that was a bad accident, because he had already been in one accident. And as far as your mother knew, you were not letting him drive the car unless you were in it. That was a lie. And it was the wrong thing to do. There are consequences to your actions, and you're going to have to make up for that insurance if you want to drive a car. So go get a job, because he's not paying for that. But he is paying for $848 so far and 73 cents. Now, you want to give me this business about prom and what money you loaned to him?
He had my daughter come and ask me for money for prom because he was running low and he was going to be graduating in May.
So what did you say to your daughter?
I wrote her the check because I was assuming that he would pay me when he got his next paycheck.
So?
Because that's what they were telling me.
No, she. So far, I haven't heard anything from him. Go ahead.
And so they asked for that money. And I also paid for their boutonnieres and their corsages. He told us that we needed to go up and order them and that when they came in, he would pay me.
Is that what you said?
No, I did not.
Ms. Fairbanks, forget the prom. $848.73, Rich,
Yes.
is what your responsibility is for wrecking this car. That's not their responsibility.
Yeah.
And Christina, sometimes when you do the wrong thing, other people suffer for it. You know who suffered for it? Your mother. You better make her whole. Get a job. It's all judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $848.73. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step